Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 192, Fast 5, Laugh 9. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by Alves Jacob Law Firm. Alves Jacob Law Firm, Brazilian lawyer in Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, and whole country of Brazil since 1997. Shout out to, if you need a lawyer in Brazil, call Alves Jacob.
Well, shout out to Alves Jacob, and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. After the break, we'll be joined by Juhi Kimani, who we met. We'll talk about how I met her. We met her through a different podcast. We'll be talking about Fast 5. We got some exciting things before that, though. But, Joe, extracurricular activities, what have you been up to since we last spoke?
I have a whole bunch of stuff that I've been up to.
Go for it.
I told you some of it. I hid some of it from you that I'm sure that you found out anyways.
Well, keep in mind, I don't check social media, so I probably don't know it.
Maybe not then. Rachel always wanted a projector for outside, so we bought a projector that was pretty cheap on Amazon that we put on the back deck, right above the hot tub. You know where that is. Nobody else knows where that is, but there was a hot tub at my house when I bought it, so there's a hot tub on the back deck, and we put the screen right over that, and then we set it up just to try it, and we were like, this is awesome. So we bought a mount from Amazon for $10 to mount it, and we mounted it to the top of the deck, and it shines down, and it is awesome. So we were watching a lot of TV outside in the hot tub at night.
So what do you have hooked up to that, like a Fire Stick?
Yeah, I also bought a Fire Stick and threw a Fire Stick in it. So yes.
And then what's the speaker situation out there?
The projector itself has a really small speaker in it that is pretty quiet, so it's not like speakers.
Yeah.
But so there is no speakers. We're just using the projector speakers because it's also at night, and my house isn't that far away from other houses, so, and we're never watching anything super serious. It's a lot of fucking Love Island at 9 o'clock outside. So
okay.
So it's it doesn't really need that much volume, and the speaker's actually pretty decent. It's not too bad for where it is and where it sits. You can still hear. We've been doing lots of that the past week. We finally caved and watched Ted Lasso.
Good, very good. Did you like it?
It was incredible. So good, so wholesome, so funny. Pretty much every episode I laughed and cried at some point in the episode. There's always something super heartwarming that makes you tear up, and it's just morally great. It's just super wholesome, and my one buddy was like, I love that show. It makes me feel like I need to be a better person myself all the time, and that's a great way to describe it.
Did you hear about the story that came out a week or two ago? Maybe I think it was last week, on Uproxx about Jason Sudeikis. That was basically Jason Sudeikis is essentially Ted Lasso in real life.
No, I've heard that. I didn't read the story, but I've heard that in other posts and stuff like that, but I don't know any examples.
I would suggest going to the thing, but basically he was doing a press tour for this movie Kodachrome, which is about him dealing with the loss. His father is dying, and so it's just a heavy drama. But apparently, I haven't seen the movie, but it's very good, and Sudeikis is great in it. And he's doing a press tour, and this guy who now writes for Uproxx interviewed him, and his dad had just died with it a couple months before. And so he was this movie really hit me, and he went through all this thing. And then after the interview, and he talked about the guy talked about it in the interview with Sudeikis about how much the movie meant to him and whatever. And then after the movie was over, or after the interview was over, the next day, Sudeikis emailed him this long email about just getting through it and just being how much it means, and I don't want to cheapen the email by spoiling the email, but read the email. And so this guy was just I wasn't sure if I should share this or not, but he's just such a good guy, and I asked him if I could, and he's like, this is your story, this isn't my story. If you want to share, go ahead and share it. And so he posted the email on Uproxx. So if you search Uproxx, Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso, it's the first thing that comes up. So just check that out, because it's just the character rings true, I think, because the portrayal is so true, because Sudeikis is just seemingly a great dude.
It was everything we wanted. We blew through it pretty quick. We instantly told, we forcefully told some of our friends that they should watch it. Everybody else agreed. So that's my pitch.
I've been on the bandwagon for
that's
7 months now. I think I was even relatively late to it. I watched it in January. Season 2 this Friday as we record. So now out today for anybody listening, wherever you're listening. Season 2, at least the first. I don't know if it's the whole season. I think it might just be one episode, maybe the first on Apple TV. But Season 2 starts today, Friday the 23rd. So
Exactly.
as this comes out to patrons, so go check it out.
Yeah, Joey's been on the train for a while, but that's also my thumbs up pitch to it. I don't think you can say anything bad about that show. It's
No,
just
it's
too
wonderful.
wholesome. It's just too wholesome. Like there's just nothing bad to say about it. So
It's not necessarily the funniest show. Like for a comedy, it's not necessarily the funniest, but like it's funny and it's heartwarming, and it seems, I don't know soccer as well as other people do, but like it seems to get soccer right.
it does. It does. I watch a lot of Premier League. Rachel was laughing because like she knew all the because the premise is that he is an American college football coach that goes and coaches a Premier League soccer team in England. And Rachel knew like a bunch of the teams that they were playing, right, and stuff like that. So she was laughing.
But like you learn either the first or second episode that he gets hired only because the owner thinks he's going to fail. Like it's kind of like a the movie Major League situation.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
she wants to embarrass her ex-husband, who was the owner. She got the team in the divorce or whatever, and she wants them to lose to get relegated to the lower league.
To hurt her husband, to fuck with him. Yeah.
Apple TV, check it out. Anything else you've been up to?
No, that's about it. Those are like the two big things. I've been doing lots of other like little dumb shit, but like I'll let you guys know later when it's done.
Weather it has not been as bad here as it has been in New England for a while, but like the weather this past weekend screwed some things up. But Mr. Mike Manzi, the Mike's there, the resident historian himself, came down on Saturday. He and I recorded an Elvis podcast at Viva Pod Vegas about the movie Flaming Star.
Somebody's going to be mad about that on Instagram, Flaming Star.
I know. I thought about that. So as a quick refresher, this woman got mad at us on Instagram because I used the tagline from the last movie, G.I. Blues, where like Elvis was the gay singing sensation. She's like, "How dare you call Elvis gay?" And I'm like, lady, it's the tagline. So the only tagline for this movie is in all capital letters, choose, ! Between your white father and your Kiowa mother. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be real racist. But like, it's not. Like Elvis in the movie is the son of a white man and a native, a Kiowa, which is a real tribe.
Yeah.
A Kiowa woman. It's about like the looming conflict between these two groups of people, and it's not a musical. Like there's two songs. There's the theme song, the title song that goes over the opening credits, and then Elvis sings a song 4 minutes in, and then there's no more Elvis music, and it's just like this really gritty, kind of bloody, violent Western that Tarantino apparently loves. But yeah, like this is, Mike and I were like, whoa, okay, wild, okay. So we recorded a podcast about that, so that's out now. Then we saw the new Nicolas Cage movie Pig, P-I-G, Pig.
Which I've heard is great by everyone.
It's great. He's great. It's kind of Ted Lasso-y in that like the message is like kind of like live your life. Like I won't spoil the movie.
Okay.
It's in theaters now, which is cool. It's Cage's return to theaters, but that we recorded an episode about that after we got back from the movies and saw that.
Nice.
So that's out now too. And then, the weather on Sunday kind of goofed things up. But, so here is a twofer that is going to not make me look good, but I'm not hiding the fact that I'm not very handy around the house. So,
what'd you do,
Saturday, bud? So my toilet was whistling. And so I Googled, it's like, oh, you need to replace the valve or whatever. Like, it's an easy fix.
Yeah.
So I go to Home Depot, buy the part. It's like $13. I'm like, cool, I can do this. And it says in the box, quick fix, 5 minutes. I was like, it's probably not for me, but I wasn't fearing it, right?
Good. So good. Confidence is a big thing to go into with this.
So you turn off the water, you drain the back, you drain the tank, you take this thing out, you put the new thing in, whatever.
Yep.
It's like to adjust the water level in the bowl or the tank, use the screw, like there's like a plastic screw.
Yep.
Like there's a diagram. Like this is also the best instruction manual I've ever used. Like, people shit on IKEA for like making it like hard to follow, and like you buy a lot of things on Amazon where it's just like they're like Chinese companies that like don't really care. Like they're just like, you bought the thing, good luck. This is like the most helpful thing. It's like, you need even more help? Go to our website. Here's a video.
Yep.
So this thing is extremely clear. It's like it even has like arrows like turn it this way to turn off the water. It's like I know that. Like that's one thing I do know, but like thank you. So like it's like use the screw to adjust the level. You turn this one part of the screw, you turn this other part like to do the whatever. And I'm like, there's no screw. I don't know if this is the right part. But I'm like, I also don't know if I'm just not handy enough.
No, you're fine.
Do this.
It was missing it, right?
And so I go to Home Depot while it's storming, and I go to the same aisle, and I open another box, same identical box, and it's like a similar part, but a different part and the right part. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I wasn't wrong.
No, you
I
weren't.
just had the wrong thing. Someone else either the manufacturer screwed up or someone goofed at Home Depot or a customer screwed up or whatever.
Yeah, a customer comes in and just steals the piece that they need because
Exactly.
they fucked up theirs.
So
Yep,
it was like a
exactly.
new piece, but it was
Yep.
just not like, it wasn't like a dirty use thing, but it's not the right thing. So
Yep.
I bring it home and I get it set up and I'm like, okay, cool, fine, easy. But while that's happening, the power, so like that's kind of a win for me. I'm like, oh, I should have been more confident that, but like I fixed the toilet and it didn't take very long, whatever.
Good
But
job.
while
Yeah.
I'm doing that, this is where it gets dumb. The power surges and my air conditioner dies, and I'm like, no, fuck, like that's because I don't have central air, but I have this like big
Split. You have a split
thing,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I go down to the basement and the breaker had flipped. And so I'm like, I turn it off, turn it on, whatever, and it doesn't work. I'm like, fuck. And so I call my parents. I'm like, I think my air conditioning fried. They're like, here's our electrician. Call this guy. He might charge more to come out on the weekend, or maybe he'll come out on Monday,
Was
whatever.
there a
'cause it's
reset
Saturday
on
night.
the plug?
No, it's not, because I don't know where the plug is. It's all in the wall.
Okay,
But like, I
okay.
go outside, I go down the breaker box, I'm looking in the thing. I'm like, I took the thing, like the shell off the AC, and I'm like, I have exhausted my extent of like what I can rightfully possibly fix.
Okay.
So this guy's not answering. I text him. He's like, "Oh, I'm out of the country, but here's this other guy. He
Yeah,
works
here's
for
my
me.
buddy."
Whatever."
Yeah.
So yes. So the guy comes on Monday, and I go down to and like he comes over. So this is actually a side story. So I don't remember if I had said on here, but like I had ADT come out last week to swap out my alarm system, and he and I were talking about this guy and I were talking about Fast and Furious for a while.
That's
and he
right,
loved
yeah.
He loved the franchise, didn't like 9. He loves the first one, whatever. We're talking about that. So this guy walks in and he sees the doormat that you bought me, the Nicolas Cage doormat, and he sees
Yeah.
the blanket that my sister bought me with his face on it. And he's like, Nicolas Cage fan? I'm like, yeah, how could you tell? And we talked about that. And then he's like, what are those movies I don't like? He's like, oh, right, the Fast and the Furious movies. And I'm like, oh, like not like unprompted, just like, because I talked about Pig. I'm like, the Pig's great, like the new movie.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, what are those movies I don't like? He's like, the Fast and Furious. I was like, oh, I really like those too. I did not give this guy a sticker. I gave the ADT guy a sticker.
Didn't deserve one. He's not family.
I know. So I go down to the breaker box. I'm like, here, like, this was off. It tripped or whatever. And the guy just actually turns it off and turns it on. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
And
Like,
that was it?
yeah. And I was like, oh, God. Because, like, I thought, like, it's one of those things where, like, I've never, like, I've done fuses, like, off and on, but, like, it didn't feel like I could have pushed it more. And I'm always hesitant to use too much force on things, so I don't want
Okay.
to break things.
So this is something you should know. You've seen all of these guys that fix these things. Usually they use a lot of force just by nature. They're usually like big, burly dudes.
True.
So if I've learned anything, it's that you can usually use a lot more force than necessary when fixing like appliance and home things.
Fair.
Not electronic things. They're more dainty for sure. But appliance and home things, usually like some more force doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah, that's fair. So like this had like, because right is on, and this was in the middle, but I thought middle was off. But like clearly the guy just like goes whoop whoop, and I go up and I'm like, cool. And I'm like, so do I owe you money? And I'm like, I half of me is like thinking like the guy's like, no, just
$20.
don't do it again or whatever. He's like, I don't know, what would Scott charge? He's like $50. I was like, okay, sure. And so I paid basically what I'm calling an idiot tax, but like I'm never gonna
did.
make that mistake again. But like I messaged a couple of my friends and I'm like, because I had said to them. Because I had 2 other friends who, at this time, their ACs were both on the fritz too, and I'm like, you guys aren't gonna believe it, but mine just fried too. So like we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
And so I say I just paid an idiot tax, $50. It was an easy fix, and they both came back immediately with like equally dumb. Like my friend was just like, I spent like hours and hours trying to figure out why this light wasn't dimming. Like I did all this rewiring, I did all this different stuff. I kept trying. Like the bulb wasn't dimming. I called an electrician, and he came out and it just wasn't a dimmable bulb. And it's just like, oh yeah. But like it's those kind of things where like we all have like a thing that's like
Yep.
the most obvious, easy,
Yep.
dumbass solution. But like it's a mistake that we'll never make again. It's just
Yep.
like you pay your idiot tax.
Yep.
$50 is, I'd rather have the $50, but like in the grand scheme of things, I'm thinking like, okay, is this gonna be like a $300 fix? Is it gonna be like
No.
a $1,000 fix? I'm gonna have to buy a new system or whatever? And it's just like, no, you just turn the thing off and turn it on. Like it's literally IT 101. Turn it off,
Yep.
turn it on.
Yep.
I just thought I had turned it off, but anyway.
Thankfully, when I do all of these things that like I'm so used to fixing things in the lab that like I will change just one thing at a time, like variables, you know what I mean? I rewired it. Does it work with the old bulbs? Okay, now change this. Now change this. And like just
Yep.
change pieces at a time and check every
The
situation
scientific
along the
method
way.
did work, baby.
It works, yeah. But Cool. That's good though. Your air
So that was
conditioner
that.
works.
So yeah, so I
50 bucks
figured that
isn't that
out.
bad. Whatever.
No,
Like,
no. And the guy laughed. We had to laugh about it, and I have a story to tell, right? So,
Yep, that was good.
it's fine. The other thing I want to say in terms of media is that I finally got to a Bond movie, another Bond movie that I liked. I finally got to
one was it?
GoldenEye, and I was like,
Oh.
oh yeah, okay, cool. Because GoldenEye is kind of like a little bit of Fast and Furious, a little bit Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
It kind of rules. Like, it's my favorite Bond movie so far. The Lazenby one is my second favorite one. But, I only have, I think, 7 more I'm caught up. Like, I have the 3 other
Pierce
Brosnan
Brosnan
ones.
Yeah.
And then the 4 Daniel Craig ones, which I've seen already. Caught up and I'm ready. I'm going to move on to another franchise or whatever. But it was a long road
Without
you, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't like hated any of them. It's just like they're not the kind of movies I really enjoy. But I finally got to GoldenEye. I was like, oh, it's 90s action. It's very Mission Impossible. It predates Mission Impossible. I'm sure you've seen GoldenEye, right?
Yeah. A long
And
time
also,
ago,
like,
but yeah.
having played a shit ton of the N64
Oh, yeah.
game, like, the music is exactly the music I know, and, like, the first level is the dam and stuff. I'm just like, oh, this is it. But, like, there's a scene in the movie, and sort of spoilers for GoldenEye, but, like, I'm sure most people who have wanted to watch the Bond movies have seen it already. He's trying to get into a plane that's taking off, and he knocks the pilot out of it, but he falls out of the plane, so he gets on a motorcycle, and he's chasing after the plane on the motorcycle, and the plane goes off a cliff, and so he jumps off the cliff on the motorcycle, and then dives off the motorcycle, and then dives into the plane, and then flies the plane up and out before it crashes. And it's just like, oh yeah, that's a Fast and Furious stunt. Like, that's
It's very much
insane.
so. Yep.
So,
Exactly.
I don't know anything about the other 3 Brosnan movies, but I am looking forward to it because I'm just like, oh, this feels like
What was the other one? Tomorrow
There's-
is not enough. Is that one?
The World Is Not Enough,
The World Is
Tomorrow
Not
Never
Enough.
Dies. I
Those were
think.
good games too. Those were the games that came out on the next.
I didn't
gen
play
systems.
those. I didn't play
They came
those,
out
though.
after. They came like on. I think I had one for Xbox.
So the next one is Tomorrow Never Dies, then The World Is Not Enough, and then Die Another Day. Those are the 3 other Brosnan movies. I remember the cover for either Tomorrow Never Dies or The World Is Not Enough. Like, I think maybe on PS2 or something, but yeah, I never played those. But GoldenEye was...
Yeah.
GoldenEye, and then, like, as soon as I got Perfect Dark, I was like, oh, I'm done with GoldenEye. But, all right, finally. Like, it was worth it, kind of, to get here. But,
That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, whatever. That's it. That's all I've been up to. I've been watching one Bond movie and just house shit.
Yeah. That's
Anyway.
fun though. Cool.
Before we do the mailbag, let's do the Too Fast, Too Forever, Fast and Furious Hall of Fame. Are you ready? Because you don't know the winners.
I don't know anything about this other than it ended today, and that's it. That's all I know.
So we had a late push in terms of voting, and someone or something that was about to get enshrined got knocked out last minute. We have at least one enshrinee and at least one that fell off. So to reflect,
Ooh.
to look back at last year, the inaugural class, Vin Diesel / Dominic Toretto, because it's the character and the actor combined,
Yep.
and Paul Walker, Brian O'Connor, both made it in with over 80% of the vote. So again, a yes is a yes, not voting them in as a no. So if you only vote for one thing, you're basically giving the other 24 a no. So
Yep.
it means that 83 and 86% said yes, these deserve. And then last year, the impossibility of the Too Fast, Too Forever quiz, just how hard we make that quiz, that joke or meme or whatever,
Yeah.
fell off. I think only like 1 or 2 people voted for it. Like, it was almost nobody.
Makes sense.
So this year, we have, with a percentage higher than Vin Diesel,
What?
but slightly lower than Paul Walker, the new inductee, the only inductee this year, was added to the list this year. Sung Kang Han Lu. Congratulations. You are the 2nd annual inductee class into the Too Fast, Too Forever Hall of Fame.
That tracks. It's F9 came out. Justice for Han. Han is back. It makes sense to me. It was a hype year for Hans, right?
It
This
was.
It's big on Han this year.
So, I have some other math that we're going to get to, but I will let you know that 3 things fell off.
Oh, damn. Okay.
2 were on, actually, they were all in the 10% to 20% range last year, so they were not really slam dunks, but they were all under 10% this year. Furious 7 fell off.
Just off. Oh, damn. That's gonna
Fast
be...
and Furious 6 fell off.
What? Okay.
And Whataburger versus In-N-Out, which we don't really talk about anymore, which I understand, like that's we've even let that go.
Yeah, it's done.
That fell off as well. So we have to do 4 new things for next year, 1 new actor character, probably 2 new movies, and then a joke or a meme or a topic or something. But we'll figure that out next June-ish, because we got time, nothing but time. But so here's
What time?
1 vote away. No matter how you slice it, 1 vote away from getting in, Michelle Rodriguez. She looked like a lock. She was so close. And then the last surge of voting today, and it was close, but she fell off. She ended up with 74.1% of the vote.
And 75 is the end? Oh,
But
sounds like one or two people, man. Wow.
she is up 9% over last year, so she's trending in the right way.
Okay, yeah. Maybe third time's a charm. Where's Mike Manzi at? Maybe that's
I don't know.
what it is.
The biggest gainer, the one with the best showing this year over last, actually the top two. It's a character and a meme that combine. Mia went from 32% last year to 55%, so she went up 23.2%. She was the biggest gainer last year to this year. I voted for her last year. I voted for her again this year. I think she deserves enshrinement in Canton at 1327. And also her food all over the place went from 21% to 44%. So Mia has a huge showing. Nothing else went higher than an 11% boost. So those two being 22+% boosts, just, in terms of yeses from year to year, that's huge. The biggest dropper, though, stunning. I think just a year without him in our forefront, The Rock went from 43% down to 18.5%.
Dude, this
Dropped
is really weirdly timely.
24.7%. Yeah, it's the recency effect, man.
Yeah, like Hobbs and Shaw was just out, so like he was big, but damn.
And
Makes sense,
last year's Dragging Us Safe Through Rio was probably just a couple votes away. It was 73%, went down to 55%. So that's more of a coin flip now. So, next year we're going to have 4 new things to vote on. These 3, Fury 7, Fast and Furious 6, and Whataburger vs. In-N-Out, are ineligible for the next 5 years. But we'll fill them up with something. So thank you all to everybody who voted. And congratulations once again to Sung Kang and Sung's Garage.
For sure, yeah.
For winning, for getting inducted.
It's a Han year for sure, so.
We have a Patreon page where I allowed our patrons to vote a second time. I don't think anybody did. I think we got 1 or 2 new patrons to vote. Not new patrons, but like people who had not voted to vote for the first time, which was nice. But I don't think anybody took advantage of the double voting privileges that I gave. So thank you, I guess. Thank you for respecting the honor system. But we do have a Patreon page, toofast2forever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Jake Freer, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellenin, Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Christian Larson, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden, Renato DiDonato, Michael McGann, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all so much for supporting the $5 a month level or above. Now is a great time to jump in. We got a bonus episode up recently with Garrett Smith talking about cars and Tokyo Mater. Another bonus episode coming up soon with the Mikester in just a couple of weeks. So if you're not a supporter over at toofast2forever.com, now is the time. Get some stickers, get some other merch, get a handwritten letter, pick what we watch. Yeah. If you join, and I know the $10 a month is like a big jump from nothing, but if you join the $10 a month tier, you get to pick a movie for us next lap, and then it resets into the next year. You get another pick next year too. So like it's a nice bang for your buck, right? So
I think so.
Good value, I think. I think
so too.
We also have an email address, family@cageclub.me. We've got 5 emails today.
Well, that's a bunch. Okay.
So one is from Wes. He wrote in a couple of weeks ago because he had been saying he'd been listening to these Entertainment Weekly, like the binge podcasts, and he was finding some facts about other movies. And so he found one about Fast 5. I was like, write in, and we'll read it on that episode. So we also sent one in for 6, which we'll read in a couple of weeks when we get to that.
Cool.
But here for Fast 5, what up, fam? So here's something he heard from Michelle Rodriguez on the podcast. Everyone's heard the story about how she didn't know until the Fast 5 mid-credit scene with Letty being alive until she saw it in theaters. I always thought that was a pretty bold move of Universal and Justin Lin and Vin Diesel to just assume she would come back to the franchise without at least talking to her about it. Apparently, she wasn't thrilled about being killed off, and she only agreed to do 4 if they would at least test with a different ending where she lived. Ultimately, they didn't use it. But she said afterwards she talked to Vin about how they killed her off, and he told her, don't worry about it, I got you. Then she didn't hear from him for a year. When she finally saw the movie, she called him and asked, why didn't you tell me? He said, I did. She said, if there's one thing you can say about Vin Diesel, he keeps his promises. Well, good story.
That's a cool story. Yeah, and I guess, he still should have been like, hey, we're going to bring you back. I don't think, him telling her, I got you at some point a year earlier is the full way to do this, but sure.
It's one of those things you can see both sides, right? He did tell her, but it's also and maybe actually tell her, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
hey, yeah, you're gonna die in this movie, but like at the end of the next one, we're gonna bring you back or whatever. But like, yeah, we got a YouTube comment, which okay, so this is a little bit jumping ahead to On the Streets. This is the big news from the last week, but this predated that, so I don't know if we were just late on it or whatever. But
What?
we got a YouTube comment on our latest video from Kevin, not Kevo, this is just Kevin, and he says, Joe 2, so this is addressed to you for some reason. Joe
Okay.
2, I've watched Fast and Furious Spy Racers South Pacific. Yes, that's right. New season of Spy Racers coming in August 13th. Get ready. You, me, Kevo, Nico are going to talk all about it because we have to. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy's just telling you that he's already seen it?
We have to decipher what he says because I'm not exactly sure what this means. Joe 2,
Okay.
I've watched Fast and Furious Spy Racers South Pacific, and Shashi, Dar, and Sarakudov are back in the 5th season of Fast and Furious Spy Racers South Pacific. So
Okay.
apparently Kevin has watched it. Maybe Kevin is at DreamWorks and he's our mole on the inside.
Maybe. But if he's the one listening, maybe he's the one taking notes of what we want and then producing a season in like 6 days or whatever it takes them to make one.
I watched the trailer and I will say it looks identical to the other 4 seasons, basically. I don't know how they do this. I genuinely don't know how this is happening.
I said this on the Facebook post. They have to be the hardest working animation team out there because I do not think that it can be this quick of a turnaround to generate at least 3 hours of content every 6 months.
Like we're at a point where every new season is both very surprising and not surprising at all.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's
It's like, of course there's more, but how are you doing it?
and why? It's like, are the numbers this? I need to see the watch numbers, like the ratings for these.
Well, at least 4. Well, at least 3, because Nico and Kev will probably watch together, right? So, like, at least 3 streams, me, you, and them together, so...
Well, and us twice, right? 3 times.
Well, no, I mean, we only watch the new seasons once now. Like, we're not going to do it... Like, we're going to
No,
do
but I'm saying
one-
we watched the early ones twice, at least.
That's true. Yeah. We've seen seasons 1 and 2, I think, twice. Season 3... God, there's 5 seasons. Have we seen... Oh, boy. We've seen 1 and 2 at least 1 and 2 twice. 3 once or twice, and season 4 we saw once. And then this new one, so... Wow.
It's just a ton. I do like that everyone has really read between the lines of my Spy Racers hesitation just because of how inundated we get with Spy Racers. Thank you. I'm glad that everybody was listening. But we'll watch together, my family. My family, we will watch together and we'll report back for you if you watch or not. We will.
August 13th, which means that we'll probably put out an episode. I think if that's a Friday, is August 13th a Friday? Let's find out. Is a Friday. So figure maybe the following week or like a week and a half after that, we will have an episode for you guys.
Didn't the first season of Spy Racers come out during pandemic?
That's a very good question. We've looked this up recently. It just doesn't stick in my brain.
No, it doesn't.
Fast and Furious Spy Racer season 1 came out
2020.
December 2019.
That's right. It was like Christmas
It
right
was
before
Christmas,
pandemic.
and then October, and then Christmas, and then April, and now August. So in the span of like 10 or 11 months, they'll have 4 seasons. Amazing.
They're
Genuinely
the hardest
amazing.
working team. They deserve like an Emmy for animation just based on their workload.
Based on
Like,
volume. Yeah.
Volume alone they're putting out. So like we talked in Cars, right? They were like, oh, it takes 100 processing hours to render one still of this thing. Like, what the fuck is Spy Racers doing?
Yeah, man. They figured it out in a way that it's unbelievable.
Do you remember Incorporate? What was the show Incorporate? Like something for pickles?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I don't remember the name, but I remember the episode. Yes.
Like something for pickles, and like they just had AI making the episodes. I think
it might be that.
that's what I'm saying. I think Spy Racers at this point is just doing that. There's just like a computer that's just running all the like a cluster that's just like, okay, let's fucking do it.
Well, like, I would not be surprised at this point if the next season of Spy Racers is about the making of Spy Racers. Like, they have to take down the AI, like, they're trapped, like, they become sentient, and they're like, we're being subjected on these adventures by AI that is just creating these episodes and stories with us in it. We need to shut this down because we want to take a break.
Yeah, that I like that. That's a really good idea. If you're listening, Spy Racers season 10, make it that because we know that you already got seasons 6 through 9 done, and they're just waiting
Yeah,
to come out. So
yeah.
just season 10, when you get there, do this.
Because I do, and we'll talk about it with Nico and Keva when we do the season with them, and I'm assuming they're going to, because I think they genuinely like it. But like, remember we asked, and Nico was like, "Oh, here's how it probably happened," and like that was in season 3. Like, they probably got
They
a
had some
20
like
episode order or whatever.
leftovers.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then we're like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And then season 4 came. He's like, "I don't really have any answers to this." And now there's a 5th season. Like almost like it just sure, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Our next email from Wes again. This is about burnout, whatever, borning, however you want to call it.
Borning,
What
yeah.
up, fam?
What up, Wes?
Says, just finished the episode. I love Scandinavian languages. They have some great humor, so it's too bad it wasn't really a funny movie. I have a couple quick notes from the last couple episodes.
Okay.
You talked about Radiator Springs, a California adventure. Mrs. West was doing a Disney race right around the time it opened, and we've been back a couple times since. I've never been a huge fan of the series, but the land is cool and it looks really awesome at night. It's super neon everywhere. Garrett would love it.
It's very cool. I agree, Wes.
As we now have to refer to him, fan favorite Garrett Smith. He was very excited about that, so...
He was very, very excited about that.
Joey, I get what you're saying about the Cypher spinoff being more interested in her backstory than other characters, and I agree. While I'm thinking about spinoffs, I'm thinking more about who I want to see do some fun side missions that are lower stakes and less about what backstory it'll fill in. That's why I think a Tej Roman Ramsey movie will be fun, even though I'm not really interested in their backstories. But if we're talking about filling in the gaps of the universe, Mr. Nobody or Cypher would be more interesting for sure. Joey also thought of a Shaw family movie, like you said, but the young Shaws, headed up by Queenie and Papa Shaw, set in the 80s, or whenever they decided the Shaws were kids, and be about how they were family of thieves, just having a good time thieving around England. I would be into that.
That is really cool. Like a fun kids, like
Yeah.
a wacky kids movie.
Yeah.
That just has that would be fun. Like one of those, like, I mean, just follow me here, but I'm thinking a little like Mrs. Doubtfire-ish kind of feels.
Yeah, I can see that.
Get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that kind of vibe, but like the Shaws and like obviously not, Robin Williams dressed as an English maid, but I'm saying like this kind of like very, very low stakes, goofy kid, trickstery kind of movie.
So like them as teens, and then Queenie and Papa in like their maybe like their 40s-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Who would
Yeah.
who would play young Helen Mirren? That's a fucking role, right?
Well, I mean, you could theoretically, and I don't know that you would want to, but like you could have, in makeup or in costume or whatever, like Vanessa Kirby play, Hattie play her mom basically, and
that's
Statham play
genius.
the dad, right?
You're right. Yes, that's the way you do it. You're right. You're right.
So,
Yep,
I don't know.
100%.
He says, just to set things straight, because you brought it up a few times, my understanding is that Neela said she never do another Fast and Furious, and Leon originally said that as well, but he's since changed his tune to where he's even floated the idea in interviews that he could potentially come in as the final big bad, which is a bold suggestion coming from someone who claimed he would never do another one of these movies. That's it for today. Until next time, stay furious, Wes. Yeah, so
We've
I
been
don't
trying
think he's
to
coming
suss it out.
back.
Yeah,
I don't think he's coming
either
back,
of
but,
them are. No,
who knows?
definitely not.
I also have some theories about Vince that we'll talk about in the back half of this, and not Vince coming back, but like things in that ballpark thing from 5 into 10, whatever. We'll talk about that in the back half.
Cool.
Next email from Jerry, subject line, I'm back, and I got a movie review.
What up, Jerry? How are you doing, bud?
So this, I think, is going to be some F9 spoilers, so if you...
Still haven't seen it? Go see it. See it. It's
Yes.
gonna be on VOD soon.
Well,
Right,
actually,
we talked
as
about
this
that,
comes
yeah.
out to the main feed, I think... So the deal that Universal made with theaters and with distributors and whatever is that 31 days after the movie comes out, it should be available on premium video on demand, which is the $29.99 at-home rental.
Yeah.
So theoretically, today, July 27th, as this episode hits the main feed, F9, we think, will be available to rent through, Peacock or whatever for $30. So I don't know that for sure. I have seen no news about that. But based on the deal and based on, a thing I read on IndieWire, it should be today. So if you have not gone to the theater, because now especially as cases are rising and there's like, it's
yeah.
insane out there.
Yep, it is. It's getting bad again.
If it's available, pause this, go watch that, come back, and listen to the mailbag. Or, just look in the description where we talk about the episode, and we'll skip to that too. So
True.
there you go. So here's the 411. I didn't listen to the last few episodes since I hadn't seen 9. After pleading my case to Ileana to watch with me and buying her some Crocs, we finally watched it. Okay, fair deal.
good deal.
Good come up.
Yeah, I like
All
it.
I knew was the trailer, so I was kind of in the dark. So here's my review and a new rankings.
Okay.
Action was great. Some defied physics. We finally have a backstory on Daddy Toretto. I think his name was Jack. You're right.
Yeah.
Cardi's voice is annoying, and I'm glad she was only in a little bit. I like Cardi. I want
like
Cardi in more.
Stop being a Cardi hater, Jerry. Come on, man.
I screenshot it and I put on Twitter, and it got like 10 likes. It was like one of our. I never know what's going to do well on our Twitter because I think some things you post are really funny that like don't get anything, and then some stuff that we post is dumb, like gets a bunch. So like I didn't know, but I posted so on Letterboxd, the Fast and Furious 10 listing right now has 2 actors, Vin Diesel and Cardi B, and I was like looking pretty good, and I got like 10 likes. So I mean I don't know, who knows. But I think Vivek was like, yeah, let's have a musical. Or maybe it was Corey or I don't know, somebody. I was just like, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
please.
back to the musical idea. Yeah, that's right. Good job.
Mama Shaw got the moves. Every movie Tyrese is explaining what they did, which is great, and now he's immortal.
Yeah,
I teared up when I saw Han come in and hugged Tej. I noticed the signature car that Jacob loves to drive, the Mustang, which is what Nick was all excited about, right? Because Nick's a big Mustang guy.
Yep.
Goes back to an old rivalry, Charger versus Mustang, and it makes the most sense.
Yep.
In 10 part 1, I'm going to guess Brian and Jacob will come back, and also one of the characters will die facing Cypher. And in part 2, she'll finally die by Roman. I'm calling it now. Ooh. And then during a typical racing meeting, you see all the characters of their main cars pulling to meet like in 1F, 1F, when Ja Rule said, here they come. Jacob, Mia, Brian, Tej, Roman, Ramsey, Han, Sean pull up with Dom and Letty leading the team. Well, who dies? I mean, that's most of the people, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, during the racing between young Jacob and Dom in F9, you can see for a moment younger Dom's crew, which is nice. The ending got me wondering with that blue Skyline. We all know who drives a blue Skyline. I'm curious how they'll do it for 10. But Mia did say Brian has all the kids, so they're safe. And of course, I went to fucking space, and if I were Roman, I would have went to Instagram Live and said, hey, look, the Earth isn't flat. We hungry for that moon rock. Then let's do another Instagram Live, IRL, him and Luda in the same outfit, and replay the scene on a green screen. That'd be so dope, and so is this. Dominant all-black Charger or Challenger Demon versus Jacob in either the rare Shelby or Mustang 5.0 10-second race rematch. But I need to know where this is going and where you got the RX-7. Switching tables here, my new rankings with all 10 from favorite to least. So here we go.
Okay.
And Jerry, if you have not listened to the other episodes yet, I think you'll appreciate we dove into a lot of that in the other episodes we put out.
A lot of it, yeah. For sure. But we're with you, and I'm hyped that you're hype.
So from the bottom. So he had previously only had 8 movies. He had not ranked Hobbs, so there's going to be 2 new rankings in here. So number 10, he has Fate, which is where he had Fate last before. So 8F, as he puts them all in the Wells parlance. 8F, whatever. So
I do
10,
like that he was using this because Wells has been using this. And if he said he wasn't listening to the recent episodes, maybe they both got there on their own, which is amazing to me. But okay.
Well, Rachel got mad at me. She's like, why do you keep calling it F4F4F? Why not Fast and Furious? I was like, because Wells calls it 4F4F and I like it better. Like, I just like it. Like,
I like 3F,
dumb.
3F. Yeah, 7F, 7F. Like, it works. It's fine by me.
Number 9, he has 4F, which he had next to last before. Yep.
Okay.
Number 8, Hobbs. He just writes Hobbs, so that's new to the linking. So pretty low, but there we go.
Pretty low, okay.
Number 7, 2F, which again is right where it was. Number 6, 9F. So that's kind of one of the lower ones, but not bad. Showing in the middle. Number 5, 3F, which is the same.
Yeah.
Number 4, 7F, which I think moved up 1.
Okay.
Number 3, 1F. Yep. Number 2, 5F, and number 1, 6F. So those inverted. He had 5, then 6. Now he has 6, then 5. So Jerry, mixing up a little bit. Thank you for emailing and sending in the rankings.
I always imagine, this is fun, and I imagine that a lot of this occurs like I do it, which is just, it's feeling that day, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever, look at my old rankings, so when you're like, oh, you, mixed up all these things, I'm like, yeah, man, that's just how I'm feeling today.
Gemini nature,
brother, yeah.
And our last email is from a new listener.
Oh, nice.
From Babacar. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Babacar, Babacar.
Okay.
Hey, Joey and Joe, too. My name is Babacar, and I'm a new member to your podcast. Fast and Furious has always been a special part in my life, and watching the movies always made me feel joy whenever I'm feeling down. And listening to your podcast, especially to hear your opinions on every Fast film along with a special guest, is always exciting to see and hear different perspectives from fans of the saga we love and enjoy.
Awesome.
It says, FYI, this will include some spoilers, so you might want to put in the spoiler-filled mail section, winky face. So he gets it. Babacar gets it.
Yeah, he's been listening. Damn, for sure.
Saw F9 on preview night, and overall I thought it was pretty great and an awesome experience. I live in Oklahoma, and the capacity is full and no restrictions. The audience was off the chain with reactions to every set piece from the Monte Quinto jungle scene. Yes, that's what the country's called. Edinburgh, but mostly the big pop was in the climactic final battle scene in Tbilisi. Still not how to pronounce that. Seems like everyone loves magnets. One thing I loved about
Nice.
this film is how everyone of the main crew got their time to shine. It's amazing to see how in 9 mainline films, we get characters to do stuff they've never done before, like Mia getting hands-on with a great fighting scene with Ellen Letty, Ramsey driving,
Yep.
Roman and Tej heading into space, Dom and Jacob helping lift the Armadillo, the big train truck, in the air and slamming it back down. R.I.P. the MK5 Supra, you will be missed. And of course, Han being badass, as usual, using a magnet to propel someone outside with a proximity bomb and exploding.
That's that's a very slept on set piece.
I
I
don't
agree.
think we've mentioned that yet, yeah.
Babacar, like the throw the bomb on him, or like whatever, like the sticky I'm gonna say sticky bomb because we come from Halo, like the sticky on him, and then turn the magnet and shoot him out the back of the car while he explodes. That's
Yeah.
a really good stunt. I agree.
Yeah. My favorite scene, though, has to be the last scene with Brian returning in the signature R34 GTR with that banger song to close out the film, and the post-credit scene with Han finally getting justice. I have a great feeling these two scenes will have big impacts on how 10 and 11 will work story-wise and who's returning. Hashtag bring back Giselle.
I want Giselle back. They got it. They gotta do it, dude. We're with you, buddy. I think they gotta do it at this point.
Anywho, as usual, I believe with everyone who writes you an email, they list their rankings, so I might as well do the same. No need to explanation. This email would be a bore to read from least favorite to favorite, which includes F9. So this is unprecedented. We got Jerry's rankings before, got Babacar's here. We're gonna get Juvies in the back half. 3 rankings today. Here we go.
It's a big day.
Number 10, once again, tough day for Fate of the Furious. Number 10, 8F in last
Damn.
place. Number 9, cover your ears, Joe, Tokyo Drift.
Oh, come on. You're one of these guys? Tokyo Drift is so great.
These are wild rankings. I didn't look at them till now. These are wild rankings.
Okay.
Number 8, the OG, 1F, The Fast and the Furious.
Okay. Interesting.
Number 7, Fast 5.
Oh, very low. Very, very low.
Number 6, Hobbs and Shaw. Okay.
Above Fast 5. Okay.
Yep. Number 5, 2F.
Okay.
Number 4, Fast and Furious 6. Number 3, the newest one, F9.
Okay.
Number 2, Furious 7. Number 1, Fast and Furious, number 4, which is wild.
Wild. You need to talk to Corey, to Simo. He's with
Simo's
you.
got it at number 2. I mean, even Simo didn't have it. Nico's got Fast and Furious number 4 at 1. He's the only other person. So now Babacar and Nico, the only ones holding it down with Fast and Furious number 4
Tonally,
at
it's different.
number 1.
I get it. It's very tonally different for the series, so like it makes sense. Like if this is your shtick that you like, then yeah, this is the one for you. So makes sense.
He says, my philosophy on my rankings is in mostly story and a little bit of the action, but the films are fantastic in their own way, except Fate, which is mediocre, no question about that. Well, I like Fate, but, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys read this email next episode. Can't wait to hear what you have to say about my statements. Keep up the good work on the podcast. And then the hand-waving emoji. Well, thank you, Babacar, for writing in.
Thank you for writing in. Write in again, brother. It was good to hear from you.
And if you want to write in family@cageclub.me, we'll read it on the next episode, please, and thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Joe, on the streets, news about the Fast and Furious new season, Spy Racers, we talked about that. Anything else you've seen in the last week?
No, I haven't seen any Fast and the Furious news.
No new spin-offs,
No
but
new-
new Spy Racers. So
Yeah, that's the real news, anyways.
every other week, there's a new Fast and Furious something announcement. Last week I was like, it's an off week. We thought we were going to get another spin-off, but, it's another Spy Racers.
Well, I mean, every other week we get a new season of Spy Racers, so it tracks.
True. So, and don't forget, this winter, Spy Racers video game too, right? So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Fuck, I did forget. Oh god, that's right. But you said it's just
quit Spy
it's
Racers.
Crossroads with a skin, though, right? Isn't that what you said?
That's what it looks like. I mean, we'll
Okay.
find out.
Well, we'll see. We'll play it. Figure it out.
I'm gonna send a note to Andy and see if he was involved in the Spy Racers video game.
Oh, good call. Very good call. Excellent.
We'll see.
Excellent.
We will
call.
see.
Yeah.
We will see. We will see.
He should have been, right? It feels like it.
I would not be surprised either way.
Yeah, same. Fair. That's good.
The final thing to do before we take a break is to talk about the Fast and Furious minute for Too Fast, Too Furious, minute 19, a minute I called Pizza Place Engines.
It's a good title.
So done. Looks like we're gonna be partners, bro. But could you tell me right quick what would be better motor for my Skyline, a Gallo 12 or a Gallo 24?
24.
I didn't know pizza places made motors. See, man, come on, I can't do this. I mean, seriously, if this is what you're gonna give me, I may as well take my chances in Chino.
And we'll get someone else.
No way, man. The only way I'll do this is if I get to pick the driver.
All right, O'Connor. Who you got in mind?
This dude I grew up with in Barstow,
Who's that?
Roman Pierce.
In this minute, Brian quizzes Agent Dunn on his car knowledge and gets the answer he expected. Brian convinces Agents Markham and Bilkins to let him pick his partner, Roman Pierce. And we jump to the Demolition Derby as the minute ends, which means the next minute we got Romy Rome, which is very, very exciting.
Because these minutes, I mean, they're lots of exposition, and I didn't expect it to go this long, but it's very long of them just sitting in this police headquarters talking about
Right,
Carter
and
Verone.
we've been talking a little bit on air, but also just on Facebook, talking back and forth about, like, there's a lot of narrative that's happening here, but there's nothing really for you to pick up on, really. There's no new clothing. I noticed there's no new score. There's no music for a couple minutes.
No.
Like, for what we're looking to do for the minute-by-minute breakdown, it's not exactly exciting.
No.
And we'll get to that in the trivia, because I'm like, I don't know what in here is not obvious trivia, but, maybe it's just an easy question. We'll talk about that.
I looked at them. I think that you have a good one in there. So
Okay. What did you notice? And then I'm gonna what I have highlighted here, I'm going to read myself next. But what did you notice? Anything of note in minute 19 that you saw?
the new thing that I saw in the police station is that the computer terminals are numbered,
Okay. Are
and
these the ones along the wall?
the guys that are in the background that
Yeah.
are sitting at computers.
Yeah.
They're numbered. If you are standing where Markham is,
Yes.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
like in front of the screen,
Yep.
to his right, those are all terminals and they're numbered, but they're numbered from right to left. Actually, all the computers are numbered from right to left. Like
Okay.
they're numbered from the speaker's position, okay? The ones that are like on the ground at the right of him, if you're looking to your right as the speaker, are numbered 63 through 66. The ones behind where Brian is sitting are numbered 68. We see 68 through 72. And I was just like, why are these numbered? Why does it start at 63? And why do they go in reverse? Is what I was thinking about this time.
Because they're numbered in Hebrew, so you read from right to left.
Fair. Okay. Good assumption.
Maybe there are other rooms, like maybe just like, oh yeah, there's IT needs to fix computer 64. Oh, that's not really helpful because it's just like, yeah, in the big conference room, in conference room A, computer number 1, like it's because like 64, like I don't know where 64. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have answers.
I think it's the other way around. Like I think maybe every computer in the building is numbered 1 through whatever infinity.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, yeah.
And so they're like, okay, 64 has a problem.
That's what I think, but like I think that's hard. Like I was thinking about that like as an easy way to like identify the problem. But, like you also have to know where that is.
Yeah, because it should be like A1 to 10, and like that's
Yeah.
room A, and then
Yeah.
B1 to 10, so you'd know what room number it is.
don't
but
know.
The IT department's fucking up here, is all I have to say. But typical, the police department, IT department is fucked
Wasting taxpayer dollars.
up. Exactly. I
Defund the
agree.
police.
Bureaucracy at its finest.
So the one thing I looked up here, because I
What?
think, you have some notes about the Barstow Speedway, which we'll cover in depth in the next minute.
Yeah.
But in this minute, we hear Brian say, if this is what you're going to give me, I may as well take my chances in Chino. And the way he says it, it's like, I think he's referring to a prison, which I had heard of, but I wanted to Google it because I wasn't sure.
Okay.
So in Chino, there's a city in California called Chino in San Bernardino County.
Yeah.
And there's a prison in there that is officially titled the California Institution for Men, CIM, a male-only state prison in Chino, often colloquially referenced as Chino. So in turn, when if we're talking about, like, or Brian's talking about, like, I'm gonna go to Chino, like, they're talking about, like, the prison. They're not talking about, like, going
This
to,
is
like,
what is the
tour
one
the
in New
town.
York? The one in New York that like Lil Wayne was at. What was it called? Rikers. Like if you're talking about Rikers, you're not talking about Rikers Island, the place. You're talking about Rikers,
Right.
the prison. That makes
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
So apparently to locals who are like, I don't live in the prison, I just live in the town, they call the prison Chino Men's or just Men's, that's a bad title. Like, just that's the best you come up with?
My grandparents in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
live near the penitentiary, and like that was just like the pen. Like, they called it the pen, and they lived near it, and they would say, like, you live near the pen, but you don't live in it, right? So, makes
They
sense.
put the pen in penguins.
Oh, yeah, they're all...
Anything else in this minute, or should we get to the trivia question?
No, I got some signs. I got some like the cars at the beginning, but that's mostly for next minute anyways. I just put them in here to do something, but yeah.
So I have 3 questions. They're all kind of easy, but I'm curious to know which one you think. Is it the? I'm guessing the third one, but we'll go through them. So,
no,
okay.
I like the first one. I think that it sounds easy to us, but I don't think that it's an easy question generally.
Okay, so I'll say that one for last. So the one I had is, under what condition does Brian volunteer to help in the operation? Is that if he gets to pick the driver? So basically, he gets to work with Rome, he'll do this thing. So that's maybe too easy.
That's fair though. Yeah.
It's not bad. I don't want to have, I don't like any of these questions enough to have more than one. So if you like the first
agree.
question, we'll go with that.
Cool.
The other question I had was, what motor does Agent Dunn say would be better for Brian's Skyline? I just had that between the Gallo 12 and the Gallo 24, and he says Gallo 24. We'll get rid of that, though.
That's a tough one, but like, I don't know how I feel about that. I like this one.
So there's 2 variations, and I'm wondering which one of these you want more. Either where did Brian grow up, or where did Roman come from, in which case the answer is Barstow.
I like where did Brian grow up, especially, I like it. I think it's a little trickier than you imagined because he mentions Chino in this minute.
True, okay.
Like, and Chino should be one of the answers.
Back in the first movie, remember we were like, there's like where they park the cars and where they radio for help?
Yes.
Trying to find these. Man, even with this baller computer that I have, it takes
Thermal, California, right?
Thermal, Palm Springs, Paloma, or Thermal. So where did Brian grow up? Barstow, Chino, Paloma, or Thermal? And the answer is Barstow.
That's a good. I like that. I like that.
Because that's
a
also
lot.
tough. Because like even us, like people are like, oh yeah, we know that Rome's from Barstow, but like you don't really think about Brian being from there, even though we know that they grew up together. You know what I mean? So it's a weird.
Yeah.
Minute 19, Pizza Place Engines. Where did Brian grow up?
It's a good question. I think it turned out. See, do you think it turned out better than you imagined?
I do.
Okay, good. There was a lot of opportunity there. I liked it.
Lots of room for activities.
There was lots of room for activities. Thank you.
All right, let's take a break. Let's bring in Juhi and let's talk about Fast 5.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 192, Fast 5. This episode is brought to you by Alves Jacob Law Firm. They protect, assist, and represent individuals, companies, and law firms from all over the world. The law office has demonstrated enduring record, which emphasizes teamwork and a commitment to excellence. Shout out to Alves Jacob Law Firm.
Well, shout out to them, and welcome back to the show. So, it's not breaking news because it happened before we recorded the intro. We just didn't see it. But apparently The Rock has said that he is not returning to the final 2 movies in this franchise, and stunning revelation. Even though I'm still thinking it's possibly theatrics and stuff, right? But
I think it's theatrics and stuff. I'm hoping.
God damn it. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. I mean, this is also appropriate because this is the movie where we get introduced to him and, you know, Hobbs shows up and so on and so forth.
Fight.
We'll get to it. We'll fight, you know, sweat, thunderwear, stay the fuck out of the way, you know, all that stuff. Hobbs things. Just Hobbs things. We'll get that trending on Twitter, maybe. Anyway, with us today to talk about Fast 5, to travel down to Rio with us, we have a friend I teased before the break that we met her through another podcast. She was a big Tom Cruise fan, and she reached out to me and Mike for Cruise Club. We had her on for the Cruisies, and then she's been on a couple other episodes, and now she's semi-regular on John Brooks' podcast, Hard to Believe, right? That's I'm not making that up, right? You've been on that before, right?
Yes, I have been on that before. I don't know if I'm semi-regular, but I was on
We'll call you
once.
semi-regular. Well, I don't think it's strong. I mean, John, it's fine. We're good. Welcome to the show, Juhi Kamani. Hello, Juhi.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for having me back again on this podcasting network. It's a privilege and it's a joy to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us to talk about the Fast and the Furious franchise, Fast 5 in particular. So now we need to get to know you as a Fast fan, as a member of the family.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
first off, I'm assuming, I don't want to assume, but I'm assuming you've seen all of them. Have you seen all 10 movies, including Hobbs and Shaw?
Yes, I have. And if I didn't, I would self-exit from this podcast. That is
Perfect. Okay,
unacceptable.
Juhi did DM me on Twitter, and she was like, "Am I including Hobbs and Shaw in the rankings?" And I said, "Yes, you are." She's like, "Good, because if you said no, I would not have done the show." I was like, "Yeah, no, we respect Hobbs and Shaw in this
Yeah,
house.
we
This
respect
is
Hobbs and Shaw,
yeah.
for sure.
I would flip a table, you guys. You would hear it in the background, and then I would angrily storm off.
I would hate it, but also love it because that would
Yeah.
be good radio, I think. But okay, so I want to know what the first movie, like, what's your ties to the franchise? The first of these movies you saw, the first time you saw this movie,
Where,
any kind of
when,
backstory you
how?
have? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I really specifically remember seeing the fourth movie, Fast and Furious, I think that came out in 2009.
Yep,
Or maybe,
mhm.
yeah. I remember seeing that in theaters with the fam.
Wow. Okay.
And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, this movie's amazing. I can't believe they had, spoiler, killed off like a major member of the family. I mean, not for a long time, but you know, that came back around. But I still was like, okay, this film is really good. I liked that they were still in LA. I liked that 3 of the main cast members came back. And then in 2011, I remember hanging out with one of my really good friends and her boyfriend, and we went and saw Fast Five. And man, we were blown away. And so Fast Five is what it just reinvigorated my love for the franchise, which is why when you gave me this option, Joey, like, okay, like what film really resonates with you? It's this one.
Very cool. I don't know if you said option or auction, but I think I heard auction. I love that as a term. Like, which one do you want? I've never called the auction before, but I'm now, even if that wasn't what you said, I heard auction. Is that what you said, or did you say option?
No, she said option.
I said option, but you know what? You should have, like, if you want people to, you should tell the people who want to be on these podcasts, they have to, like, you know, it should be an auction. It's like, who wants Fast Five? Fast Five going once, Fast Five going twice. Like, you should be
Fast
doing
bucks.
that.
Yeah. I still think an auction is kind of cool because it is kind of, you know, it's like people send in which ones they want, and then they get surprised when they're like, oh yeah, I want to do that. Like, this is traditionally one of the easier ones to book, but I feel like this group of people that we got for lap 9,
Really
not
like
huge
4.
Fast Five heads. So
Well, that's unacceptable.
I
But
know,
they all
right?
really like 4 so far, which is also very interesting.
I really like 4. I just love the addition of Giselle, and then I don't even remember the big bad's name, but I remember them driving from Mexico to LA through like caves, right? Or like
Yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, God, that was so
Campos
good.
is Braga, Braga is Campos.
Yes.
Yes.
So now, Juhi, can you please hit us with your rankings, either from favorite to least favorite or least favorite to favorite, whichever way you want to think you might, you know, create more suspense, but your Fast and Furious rankings, either top to bottom or bottom to top.
Joey, nothing would bring me more joy. So let's get
Thank you so
started.
much.
My favorite film, Fast Five. That shouldn't be surprising. This is a cinematic masterpiece, the pinnacle of Hollywood, I think. So this film is obviously my favorite. Next, I went with the Fast and Furious 1, opening up that franchise. I do want to say I also did rewatch that in anticipation of this podcast.
Cool. Very cool.
Wanted to come in with just like a full slate. Didn't want you guys to think in any way I was phoning it in. I feel strongly about that. After I picked Fast and Furious 6, I really enjoyed that film coming back after Fast 5. And I believe that one is the one where The Rock goes to them and is like, for family, like Letty's back. You get Shaw's brother, right? That's where he's
Yep.
the big
Mhm.
That one I thought was is that the one where The Rock jumps out of a hospital and like, or
No,
like
that's 7.
that's
seven.
okay. That one is great too. That's my next one. Furious 7 is number 4, and
Cool.
I think The Rock says something like, "Daddy has to go to work."
Yep.
Yeah, that's such
You
a
bet
good
he does.
yeah, it's like, okay, sir, like, all right. And then right after Fury 7, my number 5 film is Hobbs and Shaw. I just really enjoyed that
Cool.
one.
Okay.
I like that it was a spin-off with 2 characters, and it still came in hot, you know, it still was, isn't that the one, I have to keep being like, now you tell me, isn't that the one where The Rock is holding like a chain to a helicopter? That's that one?
Yes.
Yes. That was just an incredible scene.
Yes. We call that, I call that the Captain America moment.
Yes. Oh, you're totally correct. I can see the similarities in that with the imagery. My number 6 film, Fast and Furious 4. I thought about putting this higher. I did love it, but I think it's the one that opened the door for Fast 5 to come back. Like, I think the studios recognized there was still an audience for these films and spurred on a billion-dollar industry, probably more than that at this point. Now we're getting to my less favorites. I'm just going to be
Okay.
candid. Number 7, Too Fast, Too Furious. Haven't seen this one in a long time. I was like thinking maybe I should have watched it too, but I just at the end of the day didn't. Like, I know it's great. I love Paul Walker. He's out there. I actually discovered, and I'm sure aficionados like yourself know this, there's like a short between the first and second
Yeah.
of Brian like driving to Miami or
Oh yeah, it's terrible. That's the one thing that like I try not to criticize any of this, but that's the one thing I'll be like, no, that's terrible. Like that's
Yeah.
it's very bad.
It's a music video.
With like it's a music video for a shitty temp song that they didn't replace. Just like yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was so I remember discovering that. And Too Fast Too Furious, like it introduces us to some pivotal characters, obviously, that come to be part of the family. That's Ludacris, right? Ludacris is in there. He's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's important. You know, it's not one of my favorites, so that's number 7. Now, number 8 and 9, like I didn't mean for this symmetry to happen, but The Fate of the Furious and F9 are 8 and 9 for me.
Oh no, I know. I see what's happening here at number 10. This is another gonna break Joe's heart again. Okay,
I know.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. But so The Fate of the Furious, I liked Charlize in that role, and there's some parts of that film I really do enjoy. But at the end of the day, it's just not comparing to Fast 5 for me. It's not comparing to Fast and Furious 6 or the original. And then I recently saw F9. I mean, in terms of action, fantastic. But the dialogue of that film was just not connecting with me on a level.
Okay.
Like I was just like, the family it feels a little tried. But what happened to Mr. Nobody? Did they ever tell me?
Our best guess is that they're gonna set it up for future movies. That they're gonna talk about it in 10-1 or 10-2.
But yeah,
like,
they didn't say anything definitively.
We don't know.
Yeah, he just disappeared. His plane went down. That's all we know.
Yep.
And also, I know I think you guys maybe even have mentioned this, but it also, I mean, it seems like Charlize, her role was very like sitting behind here, sitting behind there. Like, did she not want to have a fight with anyone? Did she not want to act a little bit? Like, what are you doing?
Or drive something. Anything.
Right? Anything, like, I don't know. It just, when they go back and retroactively tried to like be like, oh, and he also had a brother. Whoever played Vin Diesel in like 1989, that was like Benicio del Toro light. That did not look like Vin Diesel. I could not convince myself that was Vin Diesel. I was like, who is this man?
Everybody said he was a great actor, and a lot of people say he looked like Vin Diesel. For me, I just couldn't get.
No.
Like, I didn't think that he looked like him.
His eye color was different. Something that fundamentally should not change in however many years. It also was like, is Vin Diesel that tall? And why is he that tall in 1989? And then finally, my last ranking, it's Tokyo Drift. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's sad.
Do you not like Tokyo Drift? You just like it less than the rest of them?
I like it less than the rest. And I will say some of the timeline stuff does get to me. And I'm kind of like, when did this happen? What year did this happen? And so I think it's just not having enough of the key characters. I really crave that family. You know, I crave that connection with the family. And
That's fair.
yeah, that's how I stand.
So after you saw 4 in theaters, that was the first one you saw. Did you go back and watch 1, 2, and 3, or where did those fall in your history?
I definitely went back and watched the first one, and I think I caught it on like TNT or something like that because I feel like
drama.
I remember thinking, oh, like, okay, they're like DVD thieves. Okay, like I get this, and then like, oh, they're helping the drug lord in the 4th one, and then in like by like 7, I'm just like, oh, they're saving the world. Oh, they're saving the world again. Like, it's just I remember watching that one. Too Fast, Too Furious, I think I probably caught after that as well. And I remember being like, oh, but like, where's Vin? Like, where's the rest of the Toretto fam? Like, I kind of was like, oh, maybe we're going in a different direction. And I, as well as everyone else in the world, didn't really see the franchise possibilities after the second one. And then I guess I must have watched Tokyo Drift. I watched Tokyo Drift much later, I think, because I didn't realize I was missing a pivotal one. I think that influenced why it's not ranked very high for me.
Well, I think that's a fair. I mean, Joe is. I mean, we both love Tokyo Drift, but he's kind of the diehard Tokyo Drift. I feel like that's a fair defense of a 10th place ranking. I think.
Yeah, I just didn't see it in the normal, like, it wasn't part of my normal origin story. Let's just say.
So now, before we talk about the movie, we got some very hard hitting either or questions and some open ended. But like these are, there's no wrong answers. Whatever you want to do. If you need clarification, if you need insight into what these things are, happy to help.
Okay.
But are you ready to find out who you are in the Fastiverse?
Yeah, I am. It's time.
Do you consider yourself more of a Brian or a Dom? Are you Brian O'Connor or are you Dominic Toretto?
It's more of a Brian for me. And I think I give off that sort of like maybe always trying to like race, always trying to like beat the main guy, but also might be a cop. No, not that part for real. But I think I have more of that vibe, less of a. I think I speak more. I'm more verbose, but Vin is saying like 3 words max, and so I just think I resonate a little bit more with Brian.
All right.
Makes
Are
sense.
you more of a Mia or a Letty?
I think I want to be more of a Letty because she's such a badass. But I think at the end of the day, I might be a Mia, just like on the radio being like, take this left, guys. So I think I'll have to say Mia.
So now in that first movie, we have Mia, and she and Brian are in the kitchen doing dishes. And Vince comes in drunk, and Vince is picking on Brian. And Mia, to get back at Vince, gets the name of the restaurant that he wants to take her to, and she says, Brian, you can take me there. But the way that she gets Vince, like jogs Vince's memory, is she says, you know, it's got the wood tables, the little red candles, the plantains, the food all over the place.
Picadillo.
Juhi, if we were going to take you to a restaurant as a thank you for doing the podcast, and we described it as having food all over the place, what does that connote in your mind? What do you see? How do you picture that? When you hear the phrase food all over the place describing a restaurant, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What do you see? What do you think of?
I think of dinner theater and there's going to be like a food fight and that's part of it, and where it's like sleep no more except a dinner restaurant.
Dinner theater. We never got that one before. I like that.
That's high concept. I like that a lot too.
That is. It's
Yeah.
very.
Guys, that's what
Like
I bring to this
cultured.
podcast, a cultured perspective.
You do.
For sure. Are you more of a Tej or a Roman?
Tej, I would say. I'm more back there on the computer. Maybe a little less.
Circuits.
Yes,
Yeah.
that could be me. That could be me.
Numbers or whatever his new thing is.
Numbers. Yeah. Now.
Yeah, like their roles have been so augmented now that they just all
Sure.
do everything.
As a California native, I assume I know where this is going. I don't know if you're a native, but as a current California resident, are you more a fan of In-N-Out or Whataburger?
Oh, it's In-N-Out. Yeah,
For
Yeah,
sure.
of course it is.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned this before in your joke about yourself. Well, you're more of a Brian. You're like, maybe you're a cop. Brian is a cop of questionable repute because Brian is either great at his job or terrible at his job. We don't know. But do you think, is Brian O'Connor a good cop or a bad cop? Or good at his job, bad at his job? However you want to answer that. But we're trying to get a sense of, like, is Brian, in the thing that he chooses to do to make money at the beginning of this franchise, is he good at it?
I don't think he is good at it in the fact that that's his career and his job, but I think he's a good cop in the sense that he's no longer a cop, and he was just like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Good call.
Yeah, that's
Giving
just,
up on it is the best cop you can be. I agree.
absolutely. That's what I honestly think.
We pull a job, and the 3 of us steal $30 million, and we're like,
Amazing.
all right, we're going to go to Vegas, we're going to go to Atlantic City, we're going to go to Monte Carlo, we're going to go to Rio, wherever we're going to go, we're going to go to a casino, we're going to go to the roulette table.
Okay.
Are you going to bet your money on red, or are you going to bet it on black?
I'm going to bet it on red, and I knew this question
Ooh.
was coming because I listened to some of your previous podcasts, so I thought about this.
Yeah.
I'm going red, and I also thought about what my outfit would be. Gold sequin dress. Don't worry about it.
Perfect.
Nice. Okay.
Love
I'm
that detail.
I'm going red just because I like to envision myself in kind of like a Bond-esque, like we're at Monte Carlo, you know, like you guys are in
Yep.
tuxes. I'm like, put it all on red, you know, in that kind of way. And so I just like the way that sounded more.
Cool. Okay. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I also
that
love the
works.
fashion choice. Now, on that job, were you out in the field pulling the job, or were you back in HQ as support? Are you a racer, or are you a designer?
What if I was neither of those and I was the person that was your guys' Mark, but then I brought you into the dark side and now we're all on the same team?
You're the
Mark
Giselle.
and Mole. Okay.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Giselle. I
Yeah.
like
Cool.
that.
That's pretty good. I like that. That's
Yeah.
new.
Listen, if I'm going down, y'all are going down with me.
Are you more a fan of American Muscle or imports? When it comes to cars, American Muscle or imports?
I think I would probably have to say imports just
Okay.
because, and this is such a lame answer. Keep in mind, I'm like cars, you know, pretty, but I'll just drive my Prius from now until the end of time. Like I don't need.
Sure,
I don't
okay.
need but I do like the idea of like Audi or a Volvo. Those are imports, right? Oh my god,
Mhm.
Yeah.
embarrassing. Yeah. I like safe imports. That's really where I
Okay.
live.
Big Audi fan. That works
Yeah.
for me.
Is the word oil one syllable or two?
Okay, I just had to do some claps to figure it out. I think for me it's oil. I think no, hold on. Okay, one. I'm going one.
Okay.
Oil.
Are you more a fan? Do you prefer when you're drinking? Are you more a fan of Corona or Belgian ale?
I will say Corona. I'm not a big fan of beer, which is, I mean, Vin Diesel somewhere is like writer out of the next film. How dare she? But I would say Coronas because I will occasionally get them with like tacos or something. But I'm not going to get Belgian ale. It's a no for me.
And for that reason, you're out.
You know what? That's fair.
So now, Juhi, on a job, you are the Mark and the Mole, but we're like, okay, we need you to do what you need. You need to do what you need to do best. You need to shine bright like only Roman and Juhi can. And we need you to sing a song, a cappella style, karaoke style, in front of a room of people. What song are you singing?
Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River.
Oh, good pick.
I've been singing that in my car a lot. I've just been like...
The remix, the original, the 50 Cent remix, which version of the 50 Cent remix? Because there's two.
Well, if we're going just a cappella, do we want 50 Cent in the background? Do we feel good about that? I think probably just the original. There's a remix with 50 Cent? I did not know that.
There's two. There's a good intro version and a not good intro version, and the good intro version is very good. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you know. But
Okay, now I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna do some investigation. No, I mean I would just pick like the normal one, but then I would probably like the original, and then just maybe have Timbaland in the back, sort of doing the beats.
if you do it, then I can do the 50 Cent parts because it kind of sounds like the original, anyways.
We sound like we're the dream team. I think that's perfect.
So now I need to pull the job alone because all of a sudden Joe's like, no, she needs help singing. I'm like, no, Joe, we need to.
She doesn't even know the 50 Cent parts. Just wait.
It's really important to this like kind of this plan we have in this job. I'm still wearing the gold sequin dress. Is very important to me. Okay,
Perfect.
Great.
Knowing you would be safe either way, would you rather drive a car into a plane taking off or out of a plane that's in the air and parachute to the ground? You're safe either way. You're not going to die. You're not going to do a car crash. Driving a car into or out of a plane?
I think into because I would feel safer with it, like with my, like I would be driving in and then they would close the back really quickly and I would feel encased and that would give me a lot of safety and peace of mind.
Makes sense. I agree.
Yeah, like a warm hug from a plane.
Yep.
Absolutely. But think about if you're like getting off of a plane, it's like you're going to hit the ground. Like that could be I don't know, like how far from the ground are you? It could be a bit of a bumpy getting out of
sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be safe, but it might not be comfortable.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to do that right now.
Now, if you hear a person described as no knees blank, no knees Joe, no knees Denise, whatever, you hear somebody described like that, what does that mean to you? Someone having no knees? What does that mean?
Like lacking fortitude, like lacking like a steel, I almost went steel stomach, but that doesn't have anything. Like I would imagine if you don't have knees, like you feel weak at the knees easily, something like freaks you out easily.
Would you rather die, if you had to pick, in a fiery explosion or by drowning in icy water?
Okay, that's probably the icy water would feel like fire after a while, right? So is that
Probably. It would probably burn your lungs, sure.
But is the fiery? I'm gonna go fiery explosion because I just feel like the runtime of that is quicker.
Sure. Okay. A lot more people pick fiery explosion, but like neither's good. Neither's a good option.
It's not great.
Definitely not.
Revenge of the Nerds or The Dark Knight?
The Dark Knight. One of the best openings of all time, I would say.
We need to add like a Star Wars question for F9. Like,
well, that's why we're gonna have a first time. Juhi, you're gonna be the first person to answer not this question, but the next question.
Okay.
You're the first one to be asked, which is a new question. We're gonna get there, but first, yeah, it's like Game of Thrones or Star Wars, basically, right? Like Hobbs and Shaw.
Exactly. Yeah.
What is more overworked into the thing? Juhi, are you more of a Hobbs or a Shaw?
I'm more of a Deckard Shaw, I believe, and I know why I want to be that. I like that he's like British. I like that he's like part of this like crime family syndicate. His mom is Helen Mirren. That's dope as hell.
Yeah,
sure is.
I was like, I think I was reading something about Vin Diesel and Helen Mirren's chemistry in F9, and I was
yeah. They should have kissed.
Yeah.
I was like, kiss now. Like I'm just like a weirdo to the screen. But anyway, yeah, I like Deckard Shaw's family business. Not to suggest that The Rock doesn't have like a good, Hobbs has that family as well. I appreciate that. It would have been so cool if Aquaman actually did turn out to be his brother. That would have been
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
That was that would
Momoa.
have. Yeah, right. It would have been that would have been awesome. But yeah, I think I just like and now no spoilers again. But I mean, sorry, this is a spoiler. I know I said no. It's happening. The idea that like Deckard Shaw didn't kill one part of the family, that was a major holdup I had, like a really major holdup. But now, of course, he's fine.
And who knows how this is going to shake out, because we don't know even after seeing 9. But here, speaking of 9, and speaking of brothers, and speaking of family, this is our first 3-answer option question.
Wow.
You're the first person to get to get asked this question.
An honor, you guys. Thank you for having me.
Are you more of an Owen Shaw, not Deckard, but Owen? Are you more of a Mateo, who is Roman Reigns, who's Hobbs' brother in Hobbs and Shaw? Or are you more Jacob, John Cena in F9? This is a brother question. Are you more of an Owen, a Mateo, or a Jacob?
Okay, I'm absolutely not a Jacob. I'm just going to be very clear about that. I don't think I'm a Mateo. I think that I remember the guy that you guys are talking about, but I don't think I'm him. I think I just have to go with Owen.
By default.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said, I just feel like I really like that crime syndicate family, so I'm gonna go with Owen.
And once again, like your answer from earlier, Helen Mirren is your mom.
Still amazing. She's so pretty. We should kiss.
I mean, yeah, it's a different kind of kiss if she's your mom, but I get it. I get where you're coming from.
I meant, yeah. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. Good point.
Now, the final question before we kick off with a different question, I gotta figure out ways to say this because it's not the final question because I have so many questions. I'm filled with questions. But do you have a favorite character in these movies?
Do I like any character in any movie?
In the Fast and Furious movies, not just like in Iron
No,
Man.
no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna Tony Stark. How did you know?
Yes,
No. Okay, so I think I'm gonna say, I think it's Letty. I really do, especially when she came back. Like I like Letty the best.
You know, you said earlier about the short film between 1 and 2. Have you seen Los Bandoleros, the short film before 4 that Vin Diesel directed?
No, I haven't.
You should seek that out, especially if you like Letty.
Yeah, you definitely
It's a 20-minute film.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
basically a Dom and Letty love story.
So adorable.
It's great.
Okay.
Los Bandoleros.
Los Bandoleros. What does that mean?
That's a very
bandits?
good question.
The bandits, yeah. That's what I was.
was guessing.
Bandits.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Well, I'll watch it. I'll watch it immediately after this.
So now to kick off the conversation about 5, which it's basically going to be whatever you want to talk about with 5, we can talk about with 5. But this lap, because we saw 9, because there's this mysterious backstory for Jacob, who you are not.
No.
We don't know where John Cena's been. We kind of have a sense of like where he went after he left the family, so on and so forth. But in this world of Fast 5, or at this time, this doesn't have to be in the movie because he's not in the movie, but where is Jacob at this point in 2011, or if we time shift to 2014, whatever, however time works in this world, where is Jacob during the events of Fast 5? Again, no wrong answers. If you need time to think about it, you can. I have an idea, but Juhi Joe, hit me with something. Where is Jacob in all of this? As we're dragging the safe through the streets of Rio, where's Jacob at?
This is not really what I think, but what if he's just like in a coffee shop in Rio and he sees the safe go by and it destroys the coffee shop he's in? Like he's just like, oh wow, my family. I don't actually.
Very well could be.
I don't
pretty
actually
perfect.
think that, but I would think he's like doing like kind of like, I don't know if mercenary work is the right word. Maybe he's like, I mean, I'm like already forgetting, but did he work for Mr. Nobody at some point?
This
Like,
is exactly where I was going. Yep.
yeah, so maybe he's like just been recruited from Mr. Nobody only like, I don't know, 5. He's like in the first 5 years of working for him. Maybe he's in like, you know, South America somewhere. Maybe, no, they're in South America. Let's pick a different continent. Maybe he's in like Mozambique and he's just doing some mercenary work for Mr. Nobody by extension of the CIA or something like that.
Joe, what about you? Where is John Cena? Where's Jacob?
I was thinking the same things because, like, you know, Mr. Nobody said in F9 that Giselle was working for him when he was dealing with Campos and Braga, right?
Yep.
Same
Yeah.
with Campos as Braga. It feels like Jacob has to be doing jobs for Mr. Nobody at this time. So I feel like he's kind of in the background of this, like, kind of like watching what's happening.
Okay.
He also could be a card dealer or, like, a guy working at the roulette table at the casino at the end.
Okay. I like that. Okay.
First of all, is Mr. Nobody the only like CIA handler in this entire world? Like, is there
He's
nobody
beyond
else?
CIA.
Yeah, he's
like
in a different
outside it.
organization we don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the shadow organization that.
Yes.
Yes, I remember this. But I also like. I kind of want to. I want. What if like John Cena's working for like Eva Mendes's character? Like, I really want her to be back in this universe too, and they kind of pretended she would be. So
Would love it. Yeah.
that would be cool too.
I think, yeah. So for 4, my thing was that he was keeping tabs on the family in LA, kind of working for Braga, Campos, whatever. Like, and he was a bodyguard or a bouncer at that bar, whatever,
Yep.
right?
Oh my gosh.
I agree that he's probably working for Mr. Nobody, but I think his current assignment is to infiltrate the DSS.
Oh,
so
like Elena.
He's working. Well, no, Elena's a Brazilian cop.
If he would have gotten chosen instead of Elena, like, what if he was like the first option, and The Rock is like, no, I want Elena.
Well, that's a different thing. No, I think he's working alongside The Rock, but he's just
Okay.
not in the events of this movie. But he's
Okay.
also kind of keeping tabs on The Rock. Like, in some version of this world, Mr. Nobody is kind of like his Guardians of the Galaxy character. Like, he's
Yep.
just like a
Yep.
planet, and he just sees the future somehow and knows that we're going to need to keep tabs on all these people. And so he just sees, he's like, we need to pay attention to this guy in the DSS. Jacob, get a job on his team. You're not going to be in the shit with your family, but it's going to help you keep tabs on your family and
Yeah.
also on this guy, Lucas Rebecca Hobbs.
Yes.
Oh.
Because I do think that most of the people in the Brazilian police force are just crooked cops, like insignificant, worthless, not even worth discussing here. Elena, the only one of merit there because she is pure of heart or whatever, right? But like,
I have like a side tangent on
Yeah.
this note. Can I just have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
second of your thoughts? I know you said when we were recording the intro you had thoughts about Vince. And as I was watching it, you know, that kind of stuck in my head. And I was thinking,
Oh.
is there a chance that Vince is working for Mr. Nobody in this one?
They probably wish they did that now.
Because Giselle had already worked for Mr. Nobody. So he kind of like has this attachment to Giselle here. He eventually gets Han to work for him. And Vince doesn't seem like he's fully committed to working for this drug dealer. And when you watch it through that perspective, like all of his action seems like he's trying to like somehow fuck this drug dealer out of his money too. Like he's like trying to steal the chip, but he doesn't really want to give it to him. And like he tries to get it from them. It kind of seems like he's working for like some other person.
I think they could retcon that, but
Yeah.
I think like Juhi said, like I don't think that they had any plans for that, but I think
No.
that could be something that they. Cause I think he's just kind of like a bumbling fool who like is trying to go clean but can't actually go clean, right? So
Maybe
I
that's the
think so,
reason he could use that chip and be like, give it to Mr. Nobody and be like, this is my clean slate. Like, I want to go back to LA. I wanna bring my
1327.
son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Want to bring my son, want to bring my wife. Like, let me go back.
So my thoughts on Vince returning. I think Vince is dead. I don't think the Vince is coming back. But at
Yes.
the end, when Dom leaves his wife and little Nico the money,
Yeah.
he says, "See you soon." And I could see her. I don't know what the actress's name is. I don't know what the character's name is. I just know little Nico. I think we've talked about little Nico coming back and like palling around with Jack and baby Brian and whatever.
Makes
but
sense.
like,
Yeah.
Joining the
I could
family.
see her, yeah, as like, hey, we need help, all the help we can get, and they call on their Brazilian connect, who's now just this woman like living like a under the radar but like, you know, well off lifestyle, and she
Moving out of
helps
the
with something.
favelas. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it might even be that, like, this might be a step too far, but I think her name is Rosa. Like, obviously, with Reyes down, there's going to be a hole that needs to be filled. Like, she could start running an
Oh,
operation.
she goes evil.
But-
Wow.
Or,
Okay.
like, evil, or that she just, like, she keeps it so, like, maybe she's pretending to be evil, but keeps the favelas safe, keeps with all that money. Like, she puts it back into the community, kind of, is what I was thinking.
Sure. I also think, and I don't. This might have been something that we talked about, like in Wes's email or not. I don't remember. But I think in terms of the like spin-off movies, we could almost do like a where did they go after the first movie, where like Leon goes and does his thing, Vince goes and does his thing. We find out where Letty is during the events of 2, and like that's a way to bring like Matt Schultz, the actor, back. I mean, he would be again
Yeah.
20 years older than he was in 2001, but like we could find out maybe what happened to him, how he got to Brazil. I don't think there's like a Vince movie, but I think that there could be like either, you know,
Yeah.
a mini series or something where it's just like
The
this is where the
backstories.
family was, yeah, between 1 and 4, this
Each
is where they
episode
disperse
would
to.
just be the title. It would be like Letty. It would be Dom. It would be Vince.
Yeah.
Like
Ooh,
you
I
could
like
just
that.
like Netflix, produce it. Call us Netflix. We're ready.
He says that he's been like on the run, but how did he get on the run when they picked him up with like a police helicopter?
Oh yeah, at the end of 1 is what you're
Because
talking
Brian calls like a police
Yeah.
helicopter, and they don't like break Vince out of jail. So like I assumed that he would be like, okay, we're saving you because you got shot, but you're instantly going to jail at the same time.
Maybe that's Vince 1 of this Netflix series. He's like in a hospital, handcuffed to like his bed, and then he escapes. That would be wild. Also, I was going to say I would watch, and I know they wouldn't do this, but if F10 was just Jacob, like John Cena's Jacob, like superimposed in like a million scenes from 1 through 9, just like in the background somewhere, like you see like the younger version of himself, like there's like a barbecue in the first one, and he's just in the background looking over the house, and then you see like the 4th one, and they're like in that club, and he's just like at the bar, but like looks around. Like if he was, I would kind of watch a movie about that too. I am interested.
I've mentioned on here before, but the X-Files did an episode like that called The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat, and it was in the reboot era, and like it's not only like one of the best, not reboot, but like they made 2 seasons like 15 years after the show went off the air, and they're largely okay. They're not great, but this episode is not only one of the best of the new episodes, but also one of the best episodes probably of all time.
Oh, wow.
And it's exactly that. It's just this guy like, no, I was there, guys. I was there too. And they superimpose him in on like a handful of scenes. Like even in the opening credits, he's like in there too. So like the technology is there. It's a hilarious episode. So yeah, I mean, obviously we would watch it, but also it could happen. Sure, absolutely. Why not?
I want to believe that Jacob,
thank you,
John Cena, is Vin Diesel's brother. It's just you can't introduce it in the 9th film. You needed to do it in like the 3rd one.
Well, yeah, they're
yeah.
So actually, I just have a question here about that too. Not about that, but something where when Paul Walker died, like everything reset, and they had to figure out where they were going to go to. But like in this movie. So I think that's why, like, they're just like, oh yeah, just like, you know, Dom has a baby now, and Dom has a brother now, and whatever. Just like, well, we got to figure out like stories to tell or whatever. So I think it's just like they probably, maybe, possibly had a plan in place that they had to completely abort and just figure out a new thing. But my question here is that at one point, Brian is talking to Dom. This is, I think, I remember everything about my father, and Brian says, I don't even remember what my father looked like. And I'm wondering if this was going to be a thing where Brian's father came back.
Oh.
Because I don't think they would do that now, because I think just bringing Brian back is like the thing to do there. Like whether it's, you know, like one of Paul's brothers or like CGI or whatever, right? But like, I wonder if that was something they were like seeding, like, Brian has family stuff too, and like I wonder if that was ever in the idea, like to expand the family and be like, well, here's Brian's father, and he's either like good or evil, or like he's Mr. Nobody or whatever. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I wonder this time. I was just like, I wonder if that's a thing that they ever were going to do something with that we just, you know, can't or won't now.
I kind of wish they still would, and they could use why isn't it Brian's brother, and they use Paul Walker's brother. Like, he's been willing to work with the production before. Like, they could still fill out his family and be like, or what if his daughter, like Meadow, his daughter, right? Like, what if she came back as like his sister? Like, now she's old enough, like he doesn't need to be there. Not necessarily his daughter, but I mean, or, you know, anyone really. I think it's possible to still fill out the roles of his family too.
Yeah. Listen now, Juki, I've talked enough. This is now your time to shine. What about Fast Five do you love? Things you want to talk about? Points, characters, plot moments, action scenes, anything you want. The floor is yours. Hit us with your takes on Fast Five.
Well, first of all, Joey, I've been shining since minute 1 of this podcast. How dare you?
You absolutely have. I'm not saying that you haven't been, but I'm just saying now you can shine even brighter.
Okay, so you had said something before that I've been thinking about, where you had said, like, however time makes sense in this universe, and I'm here to tell you it does not, in no way, shape,
definitely
or
not.
form.
No.
But so the way that I approach this is I hadn't seen Fast Five in a long time. So I decided to watch it, and I decided to take notes on it, like kind of scene by scene, minute by minute. Sometimes I got like too into the movie and then I forgot I was taking notes, and I was like, oh my God. But I just kind of started in the beginning, and I read some trivia as well to kind of ground it in what like could have been in this film. And I know you guys probably know a lot of the trivia, but kind of the beginning of the film starts right away from the heist at the end of 4. Like, they're gonna get Vin out of there. And I remember, I don't think I've ever had this thought before, but the bus crash scene and like, getting him out of there, it reminded me so much of the bus crash in The Fugitive. And I hope that's not like a totally weird tangent, but I was like, I think I've just been watching films where there's been a lot of like bus crashes and people and people escaping who are supposed to be going to jail, and so that was kind of the first thing that stuck out to me.
No, that's not a weird tangent. That's fine.
That's kind of what I was thinking. And then I read an IMDb trivia, which I'm sure you guys know, that Tommy Lee Jones was in consideration to be Hobbs. I'm sure you guys knew that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So insane. And then I was like, wow, I'm on the Fugitive wavelength right here. I'm with the film. So that was kind of the first thing that stuck out to me. Dragging the safe through the streets of Rio is an iconic scene. I'll never forget it. It's the number one thing I think of. I think it's so intelligently done. I didn't realize that this time around, like, they had a different plan and then they just adapted it to be this plan all of a sudden. Like, did they? Yeah, that's like, so how did they do that on the fly so quickly?
I'm not that creative. Definitely not enough to make a different plan, but they seem to do really well with making weird different plans whenever they feel like it.
I got goosebumps at one point when, like, they're like, no, we have to leave, we can't do the plan, and then Hobbs is like, I'll ride with you, Toretto, and I was like, damn, that's such a good line. This is amazing. He's gonna ride with him, like, in the plan, in life, in a car. I was just like, oh, that's fantastic. And anytime there was like, there's always room for family, like, I was just like, you guys, like, this is it, this is the family, we're here. I did bump against some of Roman's lines. I thought they were very sexist and misogynistic. I believe he says that's a whole lot of activity. He uses like a different word.
Vaginal activity. Yeah,
that's so uncomfortable. I'm like, sir, what are you saying? And then like when Giselle comes, they're like, sexy legs, like, when do they open? Like, why was that okay to say? I'm really confused. Like, not appropriate at all.
What do you think of Roman overall? Because Roman's been in a bunch of these movies, and my history with Roman has been well documented in the pod, that I've been up and down with him. But where do you fall on Roman? Do you generally like him? Is it just like this movie where you don't like him, or is he one character that like you don't really care about in general? Because I think he's one for a somewhat secondary character. A lot of people have a lot of strong opinions on Romy Rome.
I think I like him more now than I did in the past, because I like that he knew, like, he's part of Brian's past, and Brian's not really in the movies anymore, and I think he had a really close relationship with Paul Walker, and so it just that like also makes me kind of sad and like him a little bit more. But then there's this funny scene that I think of, I think it's in Fate of the Furious, where he's like taking it all personally. He's not like in the top 10 or something of the most wanted, and then like he like takes down on the ice, like there's that missile kind of thing, and he's like, he's like, am I number 11 now? Like, I remember laughing so much at that. I don't know. I liked him a little bit less in F9. Overall, I'm pretty mid-level with him. I will say I like Tej a lot more. I like Ludacris's character. I like Han, Giselle. Tyrese is kind of like, he's lower. Like, what skill is he bringing to the table? Like, he can just talk a lot. Like,
comic relief. Yeah, he's the chameleon in this movie. He can blend in, but like he doesn't even blend in. Like, he's bad at his job. Like, he's not good. Like, he fails immediately. So.
Yeah, I just feel like Tej is good at like opening the safe. Like Han and Giselle are really good drivers. Like, they actually like bring a little bit of gravitas to it. And then I don't know, Roman is just like, I'm here, I'm a slick talker, but are you, sir? Like, I don't think so. So I'm just kind of like mid-level on him. I'm going to be the first to say. Like,
fair enough.
When he goes into like the cop, like they have to get the remote control car, and he's like trying to sweet talk that woman. I was just like, I'm not amused by this. Like, I don't think you're doing that good of a job. And from what I see, like, is he even that good of a driver? He seems fine, but I don't know.
He just has history with Paul Walker. I mean, I think Paul Walker in real life, but also just with Brian in the movies. Yeah. That he's just around because Brian's there. Yeah. But actually, I do have a question about that. Do they just leave that RC car in the police station? Because
I think so.
That doesn't set off any red alerts or like alarms to people there? Like, hey, where did this car come from?
Well, maybe they had. What are the two guys who speak Spanish? What are their names?
Leo and Santos, or Rico and Tego, as they might be called in this movie. Unclear.
So maybe when they were in the police station, like, fixing it, maybe they just, like, picked it up on their way back. They're like, oh, we have to go check out a leak in this room, and then they grabbed it.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
If they're already there, I think it's best to, yeah. I mean, there was just some parts again in this film that I bumped up against, like some of the dialogue against women, and then I think it was okay when Giselle got the handprint on her because like she was like, I'm gonna do this, like I'm kind of in control, and so I gave that a pass. Like she was like, I'm gonna do it. No one told her she had to, you know. She's like, no,
Yeah.
Right.
don't worry, like this is the way we're gonna do it.
Hold on, wait. Before you go further about
Tell
that
me.
scene, because I was looking for. I have a separate question I'll get to in a second, but I was looking for a certain character's name, and there's someone who's uncredited in the movie, but like added herself or her agent added herself to IMDb, and she's Hot Beach Girl, and I'm like,
Okay.
that's a very bad
Hot
name
beach
because
girl.
like when you think of Hot Beach Girl in this movie, like it's just
Giselle.
Giselle. Like that's
Yeah.
like, and I know that Giselle has a name. I mean, she barely has a name. Like she
They
might
don't
have
mention
name
her
said
name
once. Right?
in this
Exactly.
film.
Yes. And this is the second movie in a row, basically, where they don't say her name, or they maybe say it once or whatever. Right? So it's not great there. But like, I understand. You know, maybe it's the girl who goes up to Reyes first, who like she gets the idea from. But still, don't be like one that like maybe. To some people, probably a lot of people, like the memorable scene in this movie is that handprint scene, and so
Yeah.
don't call your character, which you know, uncredited. You can name yourself basically whatever you want to be named. Don't name yourself Hot Beach Girl.
No,
when
you're right.
there's a hotter, different beach girl. It's just like a weird, like, oh, I'm Hot Beach Girl. It's like Giselle. It's like no, the other one. It's like I don't remember another one. There's only one that I remember. It's like, it's
Would
just
you-
a very weird.
Would you have
detail.
preferred she was Hot Beach Girl too? Like she just put a 2 next to her name, or
Yeah,
Hot
maybe,
Beach Girl Cartel Lover? Like would you
Sure.
prefer if she was like closer to that or
Yes,
something?
100%.
Yeah, just give it a little more specificity.
So the character that I was looking for is when they win those cars. We don't see the race, but Brian
Yeah.
and Dom go to get the cars, and they go to this like outdoor, basically Brazilian race wars, right? They meet up with a guy, and they're like, you know, Dominic Toretto, blah blah blah. Like there's a reputation there or whatever. In a newer movie, that would be someone. Like that would be like Cardi, or that would be Iggy Azalea. Like that would be someone of note. And I'm like,
Yeah.
is this a guy that we know? Because like it just feels like somebody we should know. And I looked it up. There's this guy, I think, Luis de Salva Jr., who is best known for his role as Diogo, not Diego, but Diogo in Fast Five.
Okay.
So he's best known for this movie, this one scene. But he's from New Jersey. Like he's just like a dude. Like he's just like a working actor and like stunt guy. I spent more time like, is this a guy that I should know? Like, is he a Brazilian pop star? Is he a Brazilian rapper?
No.
And he's just a dude. And it's like, oh, cool. If that was today, like Joe, you agree, like it would be someone like,
Yeah.
you know, Brazil's number one, like, you know,
Yeah.
whoever, right? But
Radio DJ.
No, it
even.
would be that rapper. What's the one that like Maluma that everyone likes? It would be somebody like that.
No
sure.
idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be like somebody like that.
Just they cast an actor. It's like, cool, good for you. I mean, like it works, but it just feels like that's like a thing you write as a cameo. He's best known for this, so like it's not a cameo. I don't know.
I
It's-
mean, maybe they didn't have the juice to get someone at this point. Like you know, Fast Five.
I mean, they
had-
get The Rock.
Oh, well, they probably
True.
paid. True. Okay, I guess that's a good point.
The franchise is not then what it is now. That's fair. That's a fair thing to say. But also, it's the 5th movie in a franchise that is very popular, and I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, Juhi, go on. Keep going, please.
No, I mean that's like I think it would have been like a rapper or somebody
Yeah.
on the scene that we know,
Yeah.
somebody that's like kind of important at this point. For this particular like scene, I had written down, I love a street race under an underpass in Brazil. This is worth the price of admission. That was my hot take. Like just not even the fact that you don't even see the race, just the vibe of the race. I was like, I like this. This is
Yeah,
perfect.
okay.
Feels dangerous. It feels secret.
Yeah, it feels like something's about to go down, and I kind of liked it. I was, and I think you guys have spoken about this before, but what a power move! You don't even see the race, but you just
Yeah.
know
No.
that. I know they've done that in like, is it in like Goodfellas? They've done that where you just like don't see like the robbery, you see the thing after. And like a lot of films do that, and I always like it. It kind of
That's kind of like the point, not the point, but like that's the point of Reservoir Dogs, right? Like it's not the diamond heist. It's like
Oh,
how
it's
it all
Reservoir
broke
Dogs.
bad,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, yeah.
there's a couple other scenes to me that are really overall in this movie that I was like, oh, I want to point this out. When you guys asked me about The Dark Knight, like they burn the money just like the Joker does. They're like, we're not here for the
Yep.
money. We're here to make like a
It's
statement.
true. Did this come out before or after? Like,
No, this
right
is
around the same time.
3 years after. Dark Knight was 08.
Yeah, Dark.
So
It
this
Oh,
was,
is-
four came out right around the Dark Knight.
yeah.
And it's a year after The Dark Knight, but yeah, same-ish. And then this is like a year before Dark Knight Rises. or so.
Okay.
Yes.
A year or two before, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. So I remember like I've never noticed that similarity before. So
Sure.
that made me quite happy. I was looking up just
Except the different means to a very different end though. The
Oh,
Joker's
yeah.
burning it just to cause chaos. These guys are burning it to steal the rest of it. So
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like
it's true. They're like, we're burning the money, we want chaos, but we also need the other, like, how much is it? Like
110 million or whatever.
110
Yeah.
million,
Mhm.
They're like, at the end of the day, we do in fact want money. Yes, for the beginning of the film when they're stealing those cars. My really like poignant note was incredible heist scene. No notes. So
Perfect.
quite a lot to bring in there.
With the train and them cutting it out and
Oh,
stuff.
that is amazing, but also Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, they're like driving, they know they're gonna go off, they go off the cliff, and then they get into the water with the car, and they're fine. They're fine, you guys. Nothing
Totally
happened. They're totally fine. Seeing that, I would pay to go see that in theaters again. I wonder if I could just rent out a theater and be like, we gotta watch Fast Five.
Maybe Cinemark was letting us rent out theaters, but they only had certain movies you could pick, and Fast Five was
Yeah.
not one of them, or I would have done it.
Yeah, AMC is still doing private rentals, but yeah, it's a handful of it's not a Fast and Furious movie, unfortunately. But
Well, I'm canceling
One
my
day.
Stubbs membership. Unacceptable to me. So another thing that it was nice to see Vince again, and I know we talked about him a lot. It's a little hard for me to get past, so I told you guys I rewatched the first one, and within the first
Yeah.
5 minutes, there is a
oh, I know. Yep. Mhm.
Yep.
there's a homophobic
The
slur,
Fatburger line.
Yep.
Yeah.
and I was just like, "What is going on?" I didn't even remember that. I mean, I watched it on TV though, so probably that's why.
I wonder what the TV edit is of that. I want to see if I can find that.
I think it's Freak or something. They usually use
Or
that.
or they just bleep it out and they just say, "Hey," like just don't say anything.
I was watching Undercover Boss the other day, and the Undercover Boss episode was about Fatburger, and I was like, holy shit! Just mind blown. It was very, very weird to me. I was like, Rachel, he's at Fatburger. A fry and a burger costs $3.99.
$2.95.
$2.95, sorry.
I do love Fatburger though. I've only had it once, but it was a very good fast food burger. So
I've only had it once as well.
It's delivered with menace, but it's good recommendation. That's a good value.
I don't think I would be eating like a warm tuna sandwich at Mia's like restaurant. Is that even a restaurant? That's like their garage that they're selling sandwiches out of. Like, no, I don't want that.
It's a bodega that makes tuna sandwiches, apparently. It doesn't seem
Didn't LA
like-
seem hot in that scene? Like, I don't want a hot.
very
tuna.
hot.
Like, I don't
Yeah,
want that.
very, very hot.
I have not been able to find the TV edit of that line, but I did find a thing on the SeattleTimes.com from 2017 about Fatburger's IPO and they're going to go public. And there's a paragraph, the fourth paragraph, I guess, to set up the importance of the size, the scale, the magnitude of Fatburger. Over the years, the brand has been immortalized in rap songs such as Ice Cube's It Was a Good Day, in primetime sitcoms, and in blockbuster movies, including The Fast and the Furious.
Oh, sir, if you're sir meaning Fatburger's publicity people, if you're referencing a movie from 2001 and 2017, like, come on, no one else since then has mentioned I'm not going for it.
The founder of Fatburger died in 2008. Over the years, Fatburger is immortalized in a string of songs. Oh, it was in Sanford and Son. Okay, that's the sitcom. This one
that's
talks about
cool.
that too. So yeah, okay.
I kind of think that Vince should have said In-N-Out, going off of my earlier answer. It's a little
True.
rude.
He's in California.
It's in LA.
Yeah, but he has taste. He has good taste. It's fine. It's just
Oh, I am.
Although I will say that on the last episode with Simo, where we talked about that, like he gave a defense of my distaste for In-N-Out is because the Austin In-N-Out is not good. Like it's just a different thing. So
Is it so they have? I knew they had them in Texas, but they're not good.
they're not as good. I mean, at least the one, and who knows? But it did not impress me. I've had it once in LA and it was good, but I was also being watched. Like I don't know if I said this on the podcast or not,
What?
but the first time when I was in LA, I went to In-N-Out because I'm like, I need to go to In-N-Out, like it's a thing.
course.
And like this kid, like this skateboarder kid was just like, have you been here before? I was like, no, because I was like looking at the menu. And, like the menu's nothing to look at. Like there's like 4 things. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
if you look at all confused, people are like, oh,
You've
fucking
never
new
been here
guy.
before.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, get the double. No, he's get the 4x4 animal style. I'm like, I'm not getting a 4x4. I know what that is. I'm not getting that.
No.
But I think I got a double. And like, I remember he like watched me take my first bite. He's like, good, right? I'm like, yeah, man.
Weird.
But like, I
Is he
think
like
there's
a
like,
brand ambassador? Like, what the
I
fuck
don't know.
is this happening?
I don't know. And then like he just skateboarded off. I was like, cool, okay.
Okay.
weird.
Does he get
But, like,
commission?
it was-
Like, I'm so
I think like
confused.
that set the bar high. Like, it was cool, but it was also like there's pressure on this first bite, and then I think I've only
He
had
tried
it
to
in
upsell
Austin
you,
since.
and he's like a kid on a skateboard.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
He's like, I get the 4x4. I'm like, I don't want 4 patties. I don't want 4 patties.
Yeah, I
I'll
don't.
get a
You don't
double.
need
Like,
to.
that's big enough.
Maybe
Too big, probably.
What's like a skateboarder kid's name? Like, what's a general skateboarder kid's name? Because maybe
Tony Hawk.
Well, maybe his name is Tony Hawk In and Out. Like, maybe he's part of the In and Out dynasty. He was like, I gotta sell this guy on my family's like labor or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was his dad's franchise, and he just happened to be outside, like just leaving.
I don't think the fries at In and Out are that good. I think I'm gonna get some angry tweets and
No,
emails.
they're okay.
Yeah.
It's the burgers that are the best.
Yeah, and I like their milkshakes a lot. I'm a big fan of
Their
that.
milkshakes are very good. I agree.
Yeah, we went on a deep burger tangent right now, but
It's fine. We're just talking about how we don't talk about this anymore, so it's back in it's back with a vengeance now because we got a Cali girl on the show, so we're talking about In-N-Out a lot. So it's fine. It's
okay.
good. We're good.
Yeah, I actually haven't been in ages though. Like, if I'm gonna get a burger, I'll get it from like a more like local place, like around here. I don't think I would go to a chain.
Are there like Oakland, San Francisco area, not to blow up your spot, are there like Northern California chains, or like I don't want to like say like a local spot, but like is there like a burger that's like that you prefer?
Yeah, there is. There's a place called True Burger that's just down the street, and they also have one in downtown Oakland, and they make really good burgers, really good garlic fries. So I'm just
Ooh,
that's,
garlic fries,
that's
yeah.
really where it's at for me. Like, I will just eat pieces of the garlic on the fries, and so I if I'm gonna get a burger, I'm gonna go there. I prefer like spicy chicken sandwiches. Like, that's my weak point. Like, I love Chick-fil-A, but I try not to eat it that much. Number one, because they're not a great company, and number two, because it's pretty far away. I would prefer a spicy chicken sandwich over a burger, I think.
I did love after Giannis won the championship, he went to Chick-fil-A and
Yes!
first he asked for consent to put the woman on his video. But he's like, I want 50 chicken minis or whatever he ordered. He wanted 50s, not 49, not 51, because he scored 50 points.
Yep.
I want 50.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. He's the best.
I think I saw his story where he's like, going to Chick-fil-A, I haven't slept or something.
Yeah, I think it
Probably
seemed very
hasn't.
early in the morning, like he was still up partying. Like, it's just, this has been a great week for Giannis, so proud of him, happy for him.
I think someone had said in like a tweet, like, can't wait to have Drake put say Giannis in his next song.
Yes,
or something
yes.
like that. It made me laugh so much. We're really dating ourselves and like what week and what year it is by talking
Oh,
about
no, you're fine.
this movie is timeless. So whatever era we're talking about it, whoever's won the NBA championship, they're always going to be dragging us safe through the streets of Rio. It's always
True.
going to be the case.
True.
I want to talk about Elena. I'd like to have a conversation about her.
Go for it.
Please.
You guys, I've listened to some of your previous podcasts about Fast Five as well, and she does have a more moving and more robust backstory than a lot of these characters. Like, the impetus for what she's doing, like her values, like why she's staying in the favelas. But then it kind of just seems to go. Do you guys feel like the fact she gets together with Vin Diesel, who is a thief right after, is like kind of turning her back on all her values, like staying in Brazil, not being a thief, honoring her husband's memory?
Yeah.
But it's like she's having the opposite of a character arc. She's going in the wrong direction, I would feel like.
I think that because Vin is our hero in our story, it doesn't hit as hard. But if we were watching this as like a movie where he was a thief and a bad guy, it would be like, that's a giant turn for her.
Yeah.
And she like went off the dark side. But because we know how family oriented he is and how that he lost Letty and he seems to really care about Elena, it doesn't feel that way from our perspective. If you took everything else out of this, she's a cop that like leaves with the criminal. She like essentially he like full Brian's her as well.
And then she lives this high, like big lifestyle with him in the beginning of the next film on drug cartel money. Like is that just what
that was stolen? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, and The Rock is like okay with it. Like, I mean, okay, you're right, because we align more with Vin and the family. It's like, yeah, absolutely. But I just feel like after this film, they just do Elena so dirty. Like, she has Vin's kid, but like we don't find out about secretly, but we don't find out about it for 2 movies. Like, how much time that kid was like 1.5, and so it's been 2 years since. Okay, fine, I get that. In that time, his ex-wife, his wife who passed away, comes back to life, and then Elena has this baby. is taking care of this baby by herself, doesn't tell the father of the child, then gets kidnapped by what's her name? Cypher? Gets kidnapped by Cypher and then gets killed by Cypher. It's a kind of a bummer for Elena.
Well, maybe she's not dead. I'm hoping that she's not dead and she comes back to life.
But then she would have abandoned her kid this long? I don't know. Was she little Brian?
No, they kept her. Cypher just like kept a fake body.
Also,
That's just a new theory that I'm having right now.
I mean, honestly, it's as good as any theory. That's they're all back. They're all back, I think. Isn't it kind of weird that Vin renames the kid Brian, but like that didn't that kid have a name for a year and a half? Like,
no, she said she waits. She said
Yeah.
she waited for the father to name him.
why wouldn't she tell the father earlier? This is so bizarre.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Like, why would she not name him, wait to tell Dom, but also not tell Dom? Like, when was she going to tell him?
You carried this child for 9 months, you gave birth to it, and then you were like, I'm gonna wait till the father gives it a name.
I want to know like the actual like the physical details of how this works at the hospital. You're just like, no, just leave the birth certificate blank.
No, like, shouldn't she name it after her, like, dead husband? Like, wouldn't that be kind of a nice way to honor him?
Yeah, you'd think.
I don't. None of this timeline stuff makes sense, and it really makes my head spin. And the reason that it's so obvious is when you introduce a baby, like that's a very concrete timeline of like 9 months, and then you have it's like it's really confusing. Do you guys understand it? And if so, can you explain it to me?
No, because time does not work. There's nothing but time. So, okay, so Juhi, let me explain to you. Like, I don't want to mansplain time to you, but when there's nothing but time, time no longer functions as time, as you understand it. I mean,
Sure.
There's a certain level of consciousness that you unlock when you watch these movies 100 times, which Joe and I have done because, you know, that's just what we do. But, like, there's time. Okay, so, like, in The Good Place, there's Jeremy Bearimy, and they're in the eye, and Bearimy. Like, it's like that.
Okay.
Does that help?
So no, I'm gonna.
Yes. Okay. Good. Perfect. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Could you explain to me relativity in time? Like, why is it when you're traveling at the speed of light, you experience less time than people on Earth? Is that what you're trying to say?
There's a good book. But read all the books by Brian Greene. He explains it really, really well. Better
Brian
than
Austin
ever.
Green, Megan Fox's ex-husband.
No,
that's
Brian
the
Greene.
90210 guy. I don't think I'm going to listen to him about relativity, my friend.
No, there's a physicist that explains relativity and like the fabric of the cosmos. That's the name of the book, and he explains it.
You're telling me the Fast and Furious universe takes place in a cosmo, and that's why we're experiencing time different than that.
I want to read that book, Joe, but only if Vin Diesel does the audiobook.
Does the audio? That's awesome. Yeah. But if you think about it, the thing that they say is that as you're going so fast and you approach the speed of light, time
And also
distorts.
so furious.
If
Yes.
they're driving fast all the time,
They're breaking
would-
too, though.
I
No.
mean, rarely. So if they're driving this fast all the time on a long enough timeline, they have to be like condensing time themselves
You just use time correctly 3 different times in that sentence. So
in
that's
three
just,
different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do have a question, though, about driving fast and braking. So in the $1 Million Quarter Mile, they're in 4 cop cars, and they race a quarter mile, and Dom lets Brian win, right?
Yes.
Where is the skill? Because those are not like the cop cars are not going to be manual transmissions.
What do you mean? Oh, it was the driving. It was the driving, and I actually think that this is like one of the coolest races in the. As I was watching it this time, I was like, oh, this is one of the coolest races in the whole franchise because they're all driving the exact same car. So it's all skill.
Yeah.
But where's the skill actually come from? Like, this is a genuine, serious question, because, like, to me, it's just like you just slam the gas pedal down.
When to come off the line to make sure your tires don't break free, and then like controlling the car and then staying ahead of the rest of them.
Because it just seems straight. So, like, it feels to me that with 4 identical cars,
Yeah.
whoever gets the jump off the line, unless they swerve erratically,
Yeah.
would win. But, like, Roman cheats and goes first and still comes in at least at best third.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's possible. Like, I think it's a very cool race, but I don't understand where the skill is needed still, even after that explanation.
Keep the control of your car.
But you're going straight.
But there's also it's like they line up as 4, but it's also 2 lanes. So they have to converge.
So that just feels like machismo then. Like, because at some point, the guys on the outside, which I guess would be maybe like Dom and Han or something, who knows? I don't remember who's on the outside.
Yeah.
Would have to either, because they can't accelerate fast on the inside cars, so they would have to just like slam on the brakes. It's a cool race that I just don't understand where the skill is.
Guys, I've done some research, as I do.
Yes,
Okay.
please, thank you.
Nearly all cars in Brazil are manual cars, so maybe the police cars are as well. And I can tell you, in Brazil, the federal police, they drive Nissan Xterras. Is that a manual car? They
I
drive
don't know.
Toyota Corollas. They
Okay.
drive
Aren't these like Dodge Chargers though? Aren't they like
I
American
don't
muscle?
remember what they are. I don't.
yeah, they are Chargers. They are Chargers. I was thinking that as well.
If they're manual, no, I guess the Chargers are what they have at the end. So those aren't the cop car. I don't, whatever. No, because those.
No,
I
the
don't know.
Chargers
Anyway.
aren't those the ones they steal though?
Well, no, the Chargers are what they use to break the safe out. I don't know, but if
I'm
they're
looking on
manual,
Car Movie Database.
if they're manual, I think that that answers the question. But like, I just don't think that when a cop is pursuing a criminal, I don't think that you're going to have a manual transmission because like it's just one more thing
think
for them
they
to worry
will.
about.
in foreign countries, that doesn't seem far fetched to me.
I guess so.
Basically,
This is
yeah, in 2000,
Ethnocentrism.
as of
Pretty much the only country that has
2015
automatic cars.
Yeah, that's true because as of 2015, there's this article, An American's Guide to Driving in Brazil. Nearly all cars in Brazil are manual. So I would assume that's the cop cars too.
Yeah, I would think so.
If it is manual, yes. But if I take your point, which is like, what are we even testing here if we're all just driving automatic cars?
right. But if they are manual, then there's actually a skill, and that I am okay with.
I think that you're sleeping on how like you could still have a race in an automatic car.
But it's a quarter mile. Like it's like a 10-second race. Like it's not like
And it's straight, right? You're not
yeah.
like straight.
Like
Right?
it feels like the type of race they're doing does not feel if they're all on identical cars and if they're automatic, it does not feel like the race is going to be over before anybody has to like exhibit skill.
Okay. Yeah. I
Like
get your
in that
argument.
sense, it almost feels like a drag race. It's just like whoever
Well,
gets
that's
off
what
the
it is.
line.
Yeah,
But drag race, the cars are different.
that's true. Yes.
These are literally four of the same car.
Yeah.
And theoretically, if they got off the line at the same time, they would tie.
But if you pick the shitty one, maybe you pick like the one that the guy beats and like it needed an oil change or something and you just lucked out.
So that's not skill then. That's just shitty. That's
Luck.
shitty
That's-
call, O'Connor.
yeah.
Shitty call.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, like it is a cool race, but now I'm kind of like, it would have been cool to see that race when they did go win the cars. Like, I would have been interested in that.
Well, what I do think is I think that's cool, but I also think that the driving of the test track is more fun and cooler than maybe anything after 6.
When they're like practicing.
Yeah, like the montage there, I think is more fun. And
It's a lot
just,
of fun. It is.
It's more so than like anything that comes into any movie maybe after. Like it's just the new movies are fun, but they're so serious. And like that just feels like it's core to the franchise. It's driving, it's racing.
It's practical.
It's practical, it ties into the plot, and it's fun. And like I feel like that doesn't happen anymore. And I just was watching, I was just like, this feels like this is why this is my favorite in the franchise, because like it's moments like that like they don't feel out of place, and yet they still feel like better than what comes later or whatever, you know? So I don't know.
Yeah, it's the stakes thing that we were talking about. Like this is like one of the last movies where they don't have to save the world.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just they're trying to get it's one last job for themselves. It's like very grounded in reality. A lot of the stuff mostly could be done practically. I think that it roots it for people. You're like, hey, maybe I could do that. You can't, but
Yeah.
you know, it's good to dream.
What else, Shuhei? What else about this movie? Anything else on your list of things to cover?
I really enjoy a montage, and there's a few of them in this film, like when the team's
There
getting
is.
together, where he's like, you're going to need a fast talker, you're going to need this, you're going to need that, like assembling the team. I love those. And then at the end, it's like the money montage. It's like, what do they all do with their money? Dun, dun, dun,
Yep.
dun, dun. You know, that's, oh, we're all out there.
Sounds
I
like
love.
Kuduro. Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that song so much. But my favorite, this is kind of different, but my favorite intro of all time is the next film. I think it's We Own It or something. That's the song. And it's like, they
Oh,
go,
yeah.
my absolute favorite.
You're right, but our guest last lap was like, this is so dumb. I'm like, no, you're wrong. Like, that's objectively the best intro.
Like, and they do, I can see the seed of that inspired it, because the end credits of this film do the same thing. They pull like them in the first one, the third one, the fifth one for Vin Diesel, for Paul Walker, for Jordana Brewster. So I was like, ooh, in the next film, they're going to be like, oh, let's just do it for all of them. And then they do it for all of them, and it's such a good intro.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So
You are right.
I
You are
watched
correct.
credits, and so I was like, ooh, I figured out where they put that together. So
Yeah.
I'm one of my notes was I really enjoy the final credits. Pretty much all my notes are like, oh my god, this is amazing. No notes, amazing. Like that's just like it's what you get when you have me on a podcast. Me just being like amazing.
No, that's what we want though. Sort of. I guess that's what we want. I don't know, but
Mostly.
we love it.
I did do some research as well. I was on Instagram and I went to go see if
I like that. I like that is a normal thing to say now. Just like I did some research. I was on Instagram.
Yeah, you can find out a lot about what people are liking, who they follow. So Vin Diesel and The Rock still follow or maybe it's new, but they follow each other as of like yesterday or something.
Wow. Okay.
And so even if there was like that whole thing about The Rock being like I'm not appearing, and he was like what he was like that, was it like not what he was like I gave him advice in his trailer to make him be that character, and like a was it like
Vin Diesel said that he gave Dwayne Johnson tough love because he needed to break him into the franchise, and The Rock just laughed about that. He's just like that. What? No, stop it.
Yeah. So I read that article, and when you had posted it, Joey, and I was like, okay, let's go see what's going on. And there's a photo from like only a few months ago where The Rock comments on Vin Diesel's photo. So they do interact with each other. So I don't think it can be that acrimony. Or like, I don't know, maybe it's publicity and their publicists are like, no, you have to keep following this person. But The Rock is on Instagram a lot. You see his cheat meals. So I don't think he has to comment on Vin Diesel's thing if he doesn't want to.
No, definitely not.
You're right. Yeah.
Of his own film. So I am more than I believe that it is maybe more just for like a feud situation. I don't know. Like I'm just.
But yeah, because my theory is that he comes from the world of wrestling, and this is just building up the hype of like he's never going to return, and then when he actually does return, it's like, oh my god, we thought he was never going to come back, but it's like, yeah, of course he was going to come back.
Yeah, exactly. Like I do think it's a little bit just like that. I don't think it's real. Like, what are you going to do? Not come into the last two of the franchise that you like?
That's going to make $1 billion.
I think you can swallow your pride for another $20 million paycheck. Like, come on, like, what are we doing?
Well, I don't think, and again, we don't know. I don't think it's his pride. I don't think he is the one with the issue. Yeah,
I don't.
That's fair.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yes. I mean, you're probably not wrong. I mean, I just remember it was really obvious to me in the 8th one when they were like in the same scene but not shooting it together kind of thing. Very The Good Wife of them. like relax, you guys. But anyway, just a little bit of Instagram following knowledge and commenting knowledge. I don't know how real
that is. Good research. You are not wrong. That is
really
good research.
Good pop culture research for me.
We'll see. I mean, I'll continue to monitor the situation, see who's commenting
Please,
on
thank
it.
you.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. I'll be your resident like social media like intern for the like Cage Club Network. You just let me know.
For the streets.
So guys, so I had my
Yes,
ear to the
please.
ground, and this is what I found.
Thank you. Joe, what about you? Anything else that you saw? What did you pick up? Anything new this time around?
Dom definitively calls them Leo and Santos in this movie.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he goes, Leo, Santos, you're up. Like when he like gives them their assignment of the part of the things, like before they go blow up the toilets.
Yeah.
So like this whole thing of us saying Rico and Teg, like I know they say T at the beginning of last movie, but like he definitively calls him Leo and Santos, so there was no confusion.
So what does the T stand for?
Tego, which was their other names at some
That is
point.
like first. It's so confusing.
Yeah, at some point they were Rico and Tego. But here, as early as Fast 5, Dom... and in a movie that Giselle still doesn't have a name, that we get them saying Leo and Santos. So, them putting their names on the screen and us being like, oh, we finally... No, they did it here too. That was my main takeaway. I was thinking all about the Vince stuff. I was thinking all about where Jacob was. And Jacob has to be working for Mr. Nobody at this point because of all the other stuff that we thought about. This time when I was watching it, I felt like I heard the dialogue better than like I remembered. Like, I don't know if it's just seeping into my brain more at this point, but like I knew all of the lines of this movie watching it through this time.
Incredible.
So, yeah, we've gotten to, 9 viewings, talkings deep. And, like, I knew every single line and delivery that was coming out of them. So I was like, okay.
I have a question. In Los Banos... Okay, I'm trying to think of the timeline of all this. Again, time. Dom recruits. He just knows Han from somewhere. Brings him in Los Bandoleros. He's at the beginning of 4. He goes away. He's in 5.
Yeah.
He's in 6. He goes to Tokyo in Tokyo Drift. dies, supposedly. Doesn't die, gets, taken away, whatever.
Yeah.
We don't know where Dom and Han knew each other from before, right? Like, it's just like in Los Bandoleros, like, the closest thing we get is just like, oh, I used to pull jobs with him or whatever. Like, we don't know their life or, like, what Han's life was before, unless we're like, oh, it was Better Luck Tomorrow.
That's what I was going to say. I have to imagine that it's Better Luck Tomorrow and, like, a young Dom in Street Races and Han from Better Luck Tomorrow kind of run into each other around the ages of like 18 and 22 or whatever.
I just Googled it, and it says that Han visited Mexico where he met Dom, and that's where the friendship was established in Los Bandoleros. So that's like the origin.
But he like calls him in Los
Bandoleros. He flies Han in. He picks Han up at the airport. Like, he knows Han from somewhere.
There's a pre-established relationship. They don't like run into each other on the street.
Yeah. He introduces Han to Leo and Santos in that short. It's just like, I used to know him, or here's Carol, or whatever, right? So who knows? I don't know. But
You're right. I want to know the deeper, like, when did they actually first meet? Yeah. But it has to be like on the streets of LA, like street racing scene kind of situation.
Yeah. Juhi, are you ready to find out which Fast and Furious character you are?
I am. I need to know.
All right. So we have 7 questions. There are 6 answers per question. Answer whatever feels, again, if you want to explain the answer or not, it's totally up to you. But are you ready to find out which character you are in the Fast and Furious Too Fast, Too Forever quiz?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm ready.
Question number 1, how fast are you? NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, which you said before, Vespa, or Razor scooter? How fast are you?
I gotta go with the Prius. I gotta go what's true to life.
Okay.
True.
Question number 2, you know what's coming. How furious are you? The Hulk, Kylo Ren, Christian Bale on that one movie set that one time, Mel Gibson, Charlie Brown, or Jack McBrayer?
Oh, I'm gonna go with Christian Bale on that movie set that one time.
Oh,
so
okay.
Chewie, we're having a barbecue. How are you helping? Are you manning the grill, saying grace, kicking back with a beer, babysitting, being the entertainment, or sneaking a snack?
Sneaking a snack, because I'd like to think that I'm helping with sides, like in the kitchen.
Okay,
oh,
cool.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
You've got time to kill. What are you doing? Grabbing a bite, working on your car, hanging with friends, drinking a beer, working out, or working on your computer?
I think hanging with friends.
Describe your wedding. I'm never getting married. It's just me and my partner. It's us and our families. It's a backyard country affair. Everyone I know is there. I don't remember.
Ooh, I think it's say the third one for me, the third option.
Us and our families.
I think I like that one, just us and our families.
Okay. Congratulations, you just won the lottery. What are you buying? Your own garage, a private plane, I'm gambling it all away, my childhood home, a fleet of cars, or a new life?
I didn't really like any of the earlier options, so what if I just said a new life? I just disappeared.
That's fine. Final question is going to answer, everything's going to be solved right here.
Okay.
What is your drink of choice? Ooh. Belgian ale, Corona, something fruity, water, whatever's cheapest, or just, Joe's getting a drink, just give me one of those. Whatever you're having, just one of those.
Something fruity.
You are the same character I am. You are
Toretto.
Mia Toretto.
Oh, okay, I get it.
That sounds disappointing, but here you go. Here's that's also mean to me. That whatever. Here's the explainer.
Look, honestly, I'm getting big Mia vibes. Like not in a bad way. Just like I'm getting big Mia vibes from you from the jump. Like from the Mia Letty question, I was like, I'm getting Mia vibes here. So
okay.
So Chewie, here's the description. See if this sounds like you. Family means everything to you, but people often mistake you for being meek, or non-confrontational. You tend to take on a supporting role and let others handle the more exciting tasks because it's more important to you to know that someone's watching over everyone else than to seek glory for yourself. Even so, you're not afraid to jump into the fray when your family's on the line, and you drive like the wind blows.
Wait, that's such a beautiful description. I'm happy with this now. Like that's I do sometimes feel like that. Like I'm big on like friends and family. Like, we'll figure it out. But it's like, oh, I got to get in the driver's seat. I got to shift down to gear 7. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry, but whatever. The point is, I'm ready for it. Like, we'll figure it out. I will mess up that clutch, but I will hit the open road.
Yeah, we don't fuck around here. Like, none of these are bad comparisons.
They're
It's
not
like
bad.
Horoscope.
It's not
They're
bad,
all
yeah.
good things.
No, and you know what? I had said in the beginning, like, I think I want to be more of like a Letty, but I think I am more of a Mia. Like, just
Oh, for
true to
sure.
myself. If it's important for me to kind of be like being in a supporting role, looking at the maps, telling them to take a left or a right, keeping the family safe, like, I'll do that. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't
Cool.
think Letty was tracking Instagram like relationships
You think Mia was
between The Rock. Like Mia would have been like, "Oh yeah, they still follow each other. It's okay."
Yeah.
And we've said this before on the podcast again, but if you're not sure if you're a Letty or not, you're not a Letty. Like there's no
No,
doubt.
you
You
know
either
what?
you're a Letty
That's so
or you're not a
right.
Letty.
Like, but I think Mia admires Letty a lot, and so
She
happy.
does.
So I'm happy to be a Mia that's like, this is my sister. Like, I admire her being a badass. I'm here to support her. I like that. That after
you go.
hearing the description, I think it's number 1, true to life, and number 2, I like that.
Well, the next game we're going to play is this Ain't No 10-Second Race, a.k.a. Boy Do We Have a Podcast for You.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Come and check out our show. Yeah, yeah.
This is where we go on twitter.com, aka the Bird app, and we find any tweet from anyone who might like the show, and we respond to them and say, boy, do we have a podcast for you, and send them a link to our show. So before we find this week's tweets, and Juhi already sent me hers, and I found mine already, let's review the last time we played this. It was with the resident historian Mike Manzi when we talked about F9 for the second time. F9 Second Gear. I found Annette Miller at Tryhard Annette. I loved me some F9. They talked an awful lot about Giselle. If my baby isn't resurrected in 10, I don't want it. Same, we said, though we're contractually obligated to watch it. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Did not like the tweet. Joe, you found Adila CH at Adila CSV. I guess an Excel fan. I don't know. Watched F9 the other day. An absolute delight to watch Helen Mirren as Queenie. She's 75 and still bringing heart and berries to the next level. From John Cena's debut to Cardi B's cameo. From action to emotional factors. Loved every bit of it. We said we loved it too. And we talked all about it here. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Nothing.
Oh,
And then Mike just saw the new F9 from at Meme Pages Suck, and it was the Dom and Mufasa meme from Lion King, which Juhi sent was the first thing she said.
I
I'm like,
sent that
we
one
literally just did this. And
Yeah.
she's like, okay. And she sent another one. But
Okay.
you said, boy, do we have a podcast for you? Nothing. I will say that I should have done this one tweet as my tweet, because as I was looking for one while we were recording the episode, I just liked the dude's tweet, and that person follows us now on Twitter. So it was that I didn't respond. I just said like, and they follow us now on Twitter. So like,
Awesome.
I'm not good at the game, but it worked.
nice.
I got a great tweet for today, and it's
Okay,
a
so-
person that I think that will follow us too. But go ahead, I'll play it whatever order
so
you want.
Send it to me on Facebook. While Juhi, can you please say who it's from, what it is, and then please describe the meme for us,
The one-
because it is another meme and it's a good one.
Yeah, the one.
And it
that I
also
sent you.
refers to something back. It refers back to something you said earlier in the episode.
Oh, I want to know what it is.
Yes. Okay. Let me scroll. Okay. So, oh, it's so good. Okay. So it's this meme basically, and it's Drake from the Hotline Bling music video, I believe, and he's like putting his hand and he's turning away, and it says he's like turning away from OnlyFans, and he's not like he doesn't like that. But then it's the next Drake meme, and he's like looking at it and pointing at it, and it says Only Family.
So now, Juhi, we normally just say, boy, to have a podcast for you, but we can customize it if you want. Is there anything you want to add to the beginning of this?
No, you know what? Let's keep it simple. Don't customize it. Just go for what you guys normally go for.
I got a suggestion before he does it though.
Okay.
Okay.
Subscribe to our Only Family. Do you like that? Is that good?
Perfect.
Bad?
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
I have one from at Reaction Rocket, whose Twitter bio is "I only love Sprite and the Fast and the Furious movies." Okay. He says, well, I was actually replying to the second tweet, but I'm going to read both of them. They're kind of long, sorry. I need to see more of the early years of the Fast saga with the flashback cast from F9. They were just too good to never see again. Maybe a prequel movie, maybe a series on Peacock TV. I find it hard to believe that they cast all those parts just for one background scene. Most of all, I want to see more with young Jacob. How hard was it being in Dom's shadow? What was his life like being the man while Dom was away? Then his exile. Then becoming an agent for Mr. Nobody. So much story still to tell there. Hashtag Fast and Furious.
All right, Joe. That's
What?
perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. How do you want to say this?
We would love to see this background story in a mini series. We've been pitching it for many episodes. Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Perfect.
I think this person is literally like a perfect.
Oh, for sure.
I only love Sprite and Fast and Furious movies. Like, that's pretty much our target demographic.
So I found Colby Jack Slut, which is a great name,
What?
at Random Dionychus on Twitter. Watching F9 last night, I was thinking about how it should have a crossover with Megaforce, since a flying motorcycle would fit right in, but then Dom and Letty gave each other bedroom eyes in the wreckage of their car after the Tarzan stunt, and I thought of a much better crossover than a picture of the movie poster for Crash, but not the Best Picture winner Crash, not the one that I dislike, but the James Spader, the much more sexual car movie Crash.
Oh.
So I'm going to say both of these movies would fit in great for our upcoming lap about high-tech cars, which we
Okay.
sort of talked about with Garrett a little bit. Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Ooh.
Sounds true.
I like this game a lot.
It's a lot of fun. It is.
It's the easiest thing and also the hardest thing to do.
Because nobody replies, no matter what you do.
Oh man, I wish you guys had done this to me and that's like had been our origin story.
We found people. We've had at least one guest on the show, if not two. I think two, at least two, if not more, who we've met, quote unquote, met this way. So it does work. It's just people don't respond for the game. Like we don't get points, but we just have people come on the show. So it's a better win long term.
Yes.
I guess, All right, the final game, and Joe, get excited. Juhi is going to be on your team for this game.
Ooh.
That's crazy. That never happens. Okay, cool.
This final game is called Dude, What's My Car?
Dude, what? My car. What? Your car, dude.
So don't pick like a really esoteric one if I get a partner.
I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 4, because Jerry sent in 4 a while ago, and then he sent in 3 more, and then he just sent in 3 more. But the
Nice.
3 more are like he's got a new format. So I'm going to save those for later. But Jerry is just blowing up our thing in a great way. But Joe, pick a number between
No,
1
Juhi,
and 4.
you pick.
Juhi, pick a number between 1 and 4.
3.
Oh, Jesus, good luck.
Oh my god.
Then pick a better one.
God,
No,
sorry.
it's fun. Joe, we're going to have to do these at all,
I was saying, like, get one that like I can get some help with. Like, if that's what I'm trying to say. You have the keys. Use the right
Okay,
key.
actually, here we go. Okay,
Cool.
okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Since I gave Joe a couple hard cars, I'll give him a fairly easy one.
Okay.
Oh, there's actually 2. There's a white one, which is mentioned in Tokyo Drift. And there's an
Ooh.
orange one, also mentioned in Tokyo Drift. Not in, but mentioned in. So there's 2 different cars.
Okay.
One is Japanese, and one, I think they're both Japanese. They're both Japanese cars.
Okay.
Again, one is white, one is orange, both 2-door sedans. So, Juhi, the background here, before I dive too far into the game, is that I don't know anything about cars. Joe knows a decent amount about cars. And I describe them in ways that I think are helpful, but generally turn out to not be very helpful. So you can ask yes or no questions. You can, ask for the country of origin, which we know the country of origin. But like anything that's going to help you think you can guess these cars, please hit us with it. But one is white, one is orange. So just, if you get either of these,
Okay, you lost me at 2 doors, so I don't.
that's fine. You got 2 doors.
Okay.
They both have spoilers in the back.
Okay.
The one on the I was gonna say the one on the left. You don't know.
That helps.
What?
Yeah, thanks.
The one on the left is the white one. It kind of looks like a DeLorean.
Looks like a DeLorean.
A little bit. It's an ugly car. And the one on the left is the white one is from 1986, and the one on the right is from 1972.
Even older. Okay.
The one on the right it almost looks like it would fit into like a classic car movie that we watched a couple laps ago, but it's Japanese and like all those are American muscle. But like it kind of connotes like a 70s like a GTO kind of like a Judge style.
Is it an old Nissan Skyline?
It is an old Nissan Skyline. It's a 72 Skyline mentioned in Tokyo Drift.
Oh my
Cool,
god, how did
okay.
you do that?
Well, there was lots of context clues.
But it kind of looks like an old kind of muscly car,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Sort of.
Yeah. It's smaller, but yeah. And actually, I just saw someone driving. Oh, in Fast 5, when Brian and Mia pull up to Rio, he has an old Skyline. He's driving one.
Okay, cool,
in the beginning of
cool.
Rio, and I was thinking about that car today because I was like, oh yeah, I don't think I ever really noticed that he has like this really old Skyline in this movie.
So I sent you both a picture, Juhi on Twitter, Joe on Facebook, of the car, the one that Joe guessed. We're going to get the other one now.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is exactly like the one that Brian drives in Fast 5. That's really cool. Okay, go
And
ahead.
it's kind of, I mean, it's orange, so I have the GTO Judge in my head, but it kind of looks like the engine, like the hood kind of looks like an American muscle car, right? It just, like,
It's boxier.
squished.
The Japanese ones are a lot boxier.
So now this other one, the one on the left, well, actually now the only one because I closed the other one, the
Okay.
white one, this is 86, which is also a hint.
86 is a hint.
Yep.
Okay.
It's mentioned in Tokyo Drift by Han and made a small appearance in the movie. I don't know where because I don't know cars.
Okay. Okay.
Man, I
It
should.
looks-
I know what it is. It's the fucking Toyota that he says cuz DK says, "Oh, when are you going to put up the Toyota FD?"
Nope.
86. Is it 86?
Well, kind of. There's more to it than just that.
What does he call it though? It's a Corolla, right?
It is an 86 Toyota Corolla or the Toyota AE, like American Eagle
AE.
86.
AE 86.
Yep.
I almost had it. Was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, you were so close to it. I
So
knew it.
close.
I could sense
I
it.
appreciate the help no matter what. So
Yeah.
this was totally
And here's that card, Joey. And I'm also going to send you one more picture. This is what I was going to send. Don't say this. We'll play this in a future episode.
yeah, I'm not going to see it.
But this is the one that I was gonna play with you, and that's why I said good luck. So
Oh man, I was gonna say an orange Toyota Prius for the first one, so I have zero help on this. I'm like,
It's okay.
I don't know anything about cars. I'm like, does it run? Do I have to put gas in it? Great, okay, I'm there.
And the Prius, sometimes you probably don't have to put
No,
gas in it.
you are
It just
correct. I
runs.
don't. It gets
Yeah.
excellent gas mileage.
well, as always, thank you, Jerry, for sending in that car picture.
That
If
was
you
a
want to send
good
in a car
one.
picture, family
Yeah.
at cageclub.me. Email it in. Also, if you want to email into Cruise Club, which there's no new episodes, but Juhi emailed into Cruise Club, run at cageclub.me, please. And thank you. But Juhi, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank
Guys, thank
Talking
you
about
for
Fast
having
Five.
me. This was incredible. I'm always willing to sit down and discuss my favorite movie of all time, something that should be inducted into the Movie Hall of Fame for
Should be.
Yeah, like for the 21st century. It's the pinnacle of filmmaking.
Now, Joe, next week, we got a big one.
What?
Once again, third gear, shifting up to third, just as Juhi was shifting down to seventh, question mark, maybe, we don't know.
I know.
We're shifting up to third, and we're going to talk about F9. Okay, so assuming F9 is on VOD today
Yes.
as this episode comes out,
Yes.
we will be joined by Ms. Caragale O'Regan,
Yes.
Bimps herself, back from the race to defeat Potts, and we'll be talking about F9.
Yes.
If, for whatever reason, it is not out on VOD yet, we're just going to flip-flop this and the pit stop following that, in which case we will be talking about Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, damn. Is the Mikes are going to join us?
No, because Mike already talked about it. We already did this thing. Like,
Yeah, I
it's the
know.
same
We
thing when,
joined
like,
you. I joined you for Fury Road, didn't I?
nope.
Okay, never mind then.
But, like, it's the same thing where, like, you know, when Mike and I would put out calls for, like, to be on shows, like, Kyle and Brian would be like, yeah, put me on that one. It's like, Philip Seymour Hoffman's. And I'm like, I already know what you think about this movie. I don't want to have you on this movie. Like,
Fair.
literally any other movie is fine.
Fair, I get
Like,
it.
that's no tough love against Mike, but, like, I know what
I
Mike
get
thinks
it.
about Fury Road.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
our next two movies, one way or the other, are F9 and Fury Road, probably in that order, if not inversed. But yeah, so that's coming up in the next 1 and 2 weeks. And then we also have a bonus episode on Patreon coming out shortly after that. So toofast2forever.com. But for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/toofast2forever, or at toofast2forever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family at cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at toofast2forever.com. Get those bonus episodes, pick what we watch, so on and so forth. Check out our store at toofast2forever.shop and come back next week for either F9 or Mad Max Fury Road. I'm Joey Lewandowski,
I'm Joe too.
and that was Juhi Kamani, and we'll tell you all about it
We see you